There's
You know
some
what
fair points
else?
being made here.
You know what else is deadly?
What?
Stealing a dwarf's beer and chugging it in front of him.
Yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
bad.
I had a plan.
she
And
had a
we've all agreed it
plan.
was a bad one.
She never said it was a good one.
That's true.
Thank,
You never did say it was good.
thank you, Marcel, for coming to my defense. Um,
As purveyor of bad plans for every party I plan, I approve.
I love
I
it.
mean, look, we've all had bad plans. Need I
Mhm.
remind everyone of the lone break-in that happened to have a crab that suddenly came out of nowhere for the insurance money?
Yeah, remind us. We think of it every day.
I think of
Jack,
it constantly. It's something that happens and makes me giggle every day.
Oh,
So we've all had bad plans. However, the number of good plans you've all had on top of the bad plans just makes it even better.
it does.
true.
Well, speaking of plans, welcome back, everybody.
Hey!
Yay!
Hey! Happy
Woo!
Valentine's
Happy
Day! No
Yes.
Valentine's
principal.
Day.
Woot
Uh,
woot.
last we left our heroes, we made the plan to leave Summercall and head towards Wayburn Port. You were jumped by a group of Sahagin with some ugly frog-looking monsters who you uh, wound up frog
Got eaten by
stomping. Yes.
frog stomping.
Uh,
The technical term.
crossed towards Wayburn Port, pulled into port late at night, decided to stay the night on your ship. Very comfortable accommodations, thanks to some shopping that was done at your previous port. Your ship now very much, I would say, a home away from home, but is it just home at this point? I don't know.
It's kind of just home.
Who can tell?
This is the place we've all spent most of our time.
Who's to say? You have sailed into Wayburn Port, stayed the night on the ship. Uh, the next morning has come. It is the morning of Sunday, April 25th. And the sun rises high in the east. It is clear, warm, clear sky, warm temperatures, as is customary of a desert port town. As you rise from your slumber, the sun starting to cast its glow over the land, you see before you a port town that is bustling with activity even at this early morning. Um, you see merchants coming and going from the port. They are setting up stands in the marketplace. Um, the town is wakening. In this town, you will find that there are a number of very high-end fabric dealers. So you can get some nice clothing and other fabrics here if you so decide. But there are also the uh, three large pyramid-shaped temples also in this town, and uh, some museums and sightseeing to be had. Uh, so without further ado, I'll bring you to the map of Wayburn Port. It is early morning. You guys have risen. You see the port town come to life, and I will bring it to you and say what's on the agenda for this morning.
What's the breakfast situation like on the ship?
Whatever you tell the uh, shipmates to make for you. I'd say you're pretty well stocked.
Professor's up, crack of dawn, and he is off the ship, wandering the streets, looking to see what kind of food is on the streets and not being made by his shipmates.
Professor immediately getting up and jumping off the ship. All right. Anybody else joining Professor at the crack of dawn, or are you taking your time uh, waking up?
I mean, I'm creepily staring at Nuala while she sleeps, so no.
I think Yuki, knowing that she's close to home, is feeling a little more relaxed. So I think she would day and sleep in a little bit and kind of enjoy the sunlight streaming through her porthole window and the smell of home.
Yeah, sorry. Charter had zoomies last night. Ren's still asleep.
Naruto would probably be getting up on the earlier side this morning, what with the new city to investigate and all. Spying the professor, immediately heading off, presumably to get a more fitting breakfast. She will probably follow after him just to make sure he's not wandering alone.
Buddy system.
Very well. I'm going to transfer all your tokens over. You may need to reset some hit points. Probably get rid of the temp HP since you all have taken a long rest and gotten your full rest and everything back.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll get that back soon.
So Professor Naruto stepping off the ship first thing, as you make footfall onto land, you are hit with the aroma of spices and the scent of incense kind of wafting from the various buildings and shops and open doors and windows around you. Searching for food, there is the smell of even at this early hour, you get the mouth-watering aroma of sizzling kebabs and grilled fish and flatbreads, all that sort of thing. This being a port town, a lot of their food does happen to come from the sea. So even morning, you get that rich spiced meat that is available pretty much at any corner you turn. Um, you do notice one thing as you are walking about, as you make your way off the dock and into the town. You do notice that there is a. Where'd it go? Uh-oh. There it is. You do see a number of posters that are posted along the dock area. Look a little bit like this.
The professor will stop and sort of yank one of these posters down and point at it, looking back to Naruto. Like, that looks like someone clearly dangerous is on the loose here.
Hmm.
And look at this reward.
250 gold pieces. That's a decent chunk of change, to be sure.
That's a lot of bacon.
Does this person look familiar to Naruto at all?
Give me investigation check.
Okay. Rosie, get away from the dice. Thank you.
I'll give you help on that.
Okay, help is good because that was a 5. Do better. Much better. Okay, that is plus investigation bonus. That is a dirty 30.
God damn!
Ha!
Looking closer at this wanted poster, you kind of look at the profile that has been kind of sketched onto these posters. The face itself does not look like someone you have seen before, no one that you have run into, nobody notable anyway, but you do notice on a 30 that there is a very faint facial scar.
I'll be honest, Joe. For a second there, I thought you would say like they've got the full profile body here, and while you don't recognize the face, you'd recognize those abs anywhere. But no, that clue is enough for Naruto to sort of squint at it. And she'll say, Professor, if I remember the story correctly, wasn't Nuala being hassled for thievery in the fort last we saw her. Or last time she was here, rather.
Oh, all right. Interesting. I'm curious to know how old these posters are, because that might help us determine who this is.
Well, apparently the dockmaster is the one putting these up, so if their office is right over there, we could discreetly question as to the background of this investigation.
I suppose I could take a few minutes out of my day to pursue 250 gold pieces, as long as we get the bacon on the way back.
And of course, we can ask Noala if this is one of her previous guises.
Should we do that first before we go poking around, raising suspicion that we might know something?
Yeah, probably. Can you stand to not grab your salted fish until we do that real quick?
He nods and reaches into a pocket and pulls out a ration. And he's like, I'll be fine for a little bit.
Come along. It won't take long at all, and they'll march back onto the ship to go find Noala. Knock, knock, knock.
Come in.
Well, Nariko enters. Good
And
morning,
beg on you,
Noala.
really knock.
Good morning, Jade.
Good morning. I'm getting up, I promise.
Good morning. The sun's barely just gotten up. He's fine.
Yes, well, the professor was hungry, and I didn't want him to go unescorted. Which
To the kitchen?
no, he was searching for more of the local fare on the streets. But it's not too far stepping off onto the docks, we noticed some posters had been posted. Posters had been posted up. That sounds weird to say. And I wanted to know if maybe Nuala knew anything about this gentleman here, and she holds up the poster.
Yes?
Was that the guise that was in use when you were last in Wayburn Port?
If I say yes, are you going to arrest me?
Nuala, you are priceless. I would never trade you away for something as piddly as 250 gold coins.
You're worth way more than shiny metal bits.
Yeah, 10,000 gold apparently.
That's a lot, and I still wouldn't trade you for any of that. It's just rocks and metal.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that was prior me. No, I will not be taking that form. Did they really get the scar?
That's
Grabs
yes, actually, I was very surprised that they went that far in detail. I wouldn't have had any clue otherwise.
I thought this was really faint. Is it that obvious?
It's really not that obvious unless you're staring, squinting right at your face.
You know what? And I'm just gonna remove the scar.
Maybe we just have a hand signal then instead, so we know it's you.
Okay. Well, what?
A secret handshake or something.
Mystic Mechanicus makes their own gang sign.
Yeah.
Oh no!
You do. She does like the what's the rock and roll one where you have like
The hook'em horns.
yeah, that one. Maybe it's this one, you know? We do that at each other. And then we know it's you. Oh, both hands. Do both hands because then it's more obvious that it's you, or less? Do we go less obvious or more obvious for a secret handshake signal?
Definitely subtle if we don't want people to notice. I mean,
Oh,
whoever made that poster or provided the details for that obviously notices some very subtle things. So,
it's a
Well,
really
also,
nice drawing.
I mean, it is common procedure when trying to profile a suspect that you try and hone in on things like tattoos, scars, any sort of distinctive markings, however small they may be. But Professor had a good idea of asking the dockmaster, since apparently he's who to report to with information, just to see if these posters were indeed put up around the time you left or if they were more recent. The the reason I wonder is that since it seems the cult are trying their best to find various avenues of harming and removing us, uh, I want to know if maybe they provided the information and the funding to add this extra wrinkle on the off chance it happens to result in a prize. Because I can't imagine you weren't responsible for enough larceny to warrant that much of a bounty on your own, right?
250 gold. Um, I I did manage to snag a couple gems from the museum.
Oh, okay. I thought you had been like grabbing a loaf of bread off a windowsill. Not that. Okay, that might be more legitimate than I thought.
Rocks are really expensive and exciting for people for some reason.
Why the museum though?
I just wandered in there and I needed money. And I don't know.
Okay. Well,
It wasn't my best moment.
it's okay. I understand the need. I'm just a little sad that it came from the museum and not from just a merchant. But that's a personal hang up. Uh, I'm glad that's in the past and we're all better now. So yeah, I'm gonna go politely ask the DOS master about some of the details regarding the hows and whys of this poster, and anyone else is welcome to join me.
We think we just want to make sure with the Dockmaster that it's just an old wanted poster and not something new that our not friends are putting around, because we had people on the river who was asking about it too.
Right.
Okay. Well, that seems logical.
It's also worth noting whether or not this was, an official publication by like the city guard or an interested individual in particular.
Oh, because then it would be someone that maybe we could find.
Precisely.
Or not find. Or avoid at all costs, depending on what we do. Probably find them, though.
Probably.
Do you want to go ask questions of the Dockmaster? Nuala?
Yeah. Yeah, I should get up.
Okay. And then we can get bacon.
That does sound good.
See, I know what my friends like for mornings. Oh, I should let you get dressed. Okay, I'll go get Yuki and Ren.
Our reward for investigation will be either here at the docks or maybe at the marketplace. A nice breakfast out on the town.
And Jade will leave to go wake up Ren and Yuki.
Yuki will have woken up by this point, and she'll be up on the top of the ship, kind of looking out at Wayburn Port. So when you guys emerge, she'll be there, and we can just yada yada that you updated her on everything, so we don't have to go through it again.
Where's
Ren
Ren
was
at?
up playing. Ren was up in his room playing with Char Char, but he is ready to investigate. We have already found a disturbance in this new town. I believe that is a new record for us.
Well, to be fair, we kind of, Newalla and I kind of already knew this might be a thing.
Mm,
So it's not really that surprising. It's just really surprising that the drawing was so good. It's a really good drawing. Look,
it seems quite detailed.
yeah, they took a really good, really long time. Someone was very dedicated. So we're just gonna go ask, and then we're gonna go get breakfast.
Very
Want to
well,
go?
we should go. Of course.
Wonderful. Okay. I go out to have breakfast, but first ask questions. I find it funny we've had more wanted posters in this campaign than the campaign with an active pirate.
Notoriety is a hell of a thing.
I mean, she will kill you. So.
Breakfast is served. You gather your belongings. Is everybody heading to the dockmaster, or just a few of you?
I think we'll all go.
I think it's a family trip.
All
Mass
right.
adventure.
So, family trip. Make our way out, back onto land, and you make your way over to this domed-looking building over here. As you walk in, you see there is a woman sitting behind a desk. She's got assistants kind of running about, and there are stacks of pages neatly arranged on her desk, inbox, outbox, work to be done, clipboards everywhere. The woman that you see has an ethereal presence that mirrors the desert winds. Her skin is the color of golden sand, her hair a cascade of fine, weightless strands floating gently in a breeze that doesn't seem to be blowing within this building. Uh, she wears practical desert attire adorned with intricate patterns reminiscent of wind-carved dunes, and a traditional headscarf shielding her from the sun. She look a little bit like this.
I think Jade sees her and goes, "Oh my gosh, you're so pretty," like out loud, with no filter.
She kind of looks up from her desk and she
Sorry.
smiles. She smiles at you gently and warmly. She says, "Thank you. That's very kind of you to say."
What kind of conditioner do you use? Why is your hair doing that?
She kind of grins at you, Professor, and tosses her hair over her shoulder, which still kind of like waves in the air. And she says, "Oh, it's natural."
That's really
Maybe it's
nice.
Maybelline.
I am
Um,
Dockmaster Zavira Sandstrider. Can I help you with something?
yes. My name is Naraka von Grutzner of the von Grutzner Company. We just pulled into dock last night. We were making our way into town. I had noticed some of the posters that have been put up just by the docks. Just wanted to ask really quickly. This fellow presented here. What exactly are they? It's a notably high bounty for a single burglar. I was curious if you had more information.
Uh, well, they stole a priceless gem from the museum that was an artifact of the ancient kingdom of Kakabesh, one of a kind. very rare, hard to replace. Um, we chased them through the dock area, through the marketplace, made quite a bit of a commotion as they tried to get around. But sadly, we lost them in the crowd.
Oh, a priceless historical treasure. That's very sad to hear that. Um, how long ago was this event?
It's about 3, 4 weeks now.
3 4 weeks. Mm, and being a port town, it's fairly likely that they probably chartered a ship out of here by now.
Well, we've been watching the piers and docks, and no one matching the description of that wanted poster has turned up, so either they were able to sneak out from underneath our guard's watch, or they wandered out into the desert.
I see. Well,
If they're not still here, that is, of course.
no, you never know. Well, thank you. That clears up some of the questions I had. Uh, Me and my cohort here will be sure to keep an eye out, and should we find any signs of this person, or at the very least the treasure that was lost, we will be happy to offer our assistance.
Well, be sure to be careful. Don't try to approach them yourselves. They could be dangerous.
Oh, don't you worry. We may not look it, but we can be plenty dangerous ourselves when the need arises. Roads seem to be a little more dangerous than usual these days.
Well, all the same, just try not to get too involved. I would hate to see someone not involved get hurt. Someone who's, I should rephrase, someone whose responsibility it isn't to do these things.
Narco can think of like 5 different answers to that statement, but she bites her tongue on all of them because a lot of them just make her sad. Like, oh yeah, it'd be great if it wasn't my responsibility, but look how that went. But you'll sort of nod and say, we very much appreciate your forewarning. I, she'll turn to the rest of the party and say, you can go ahead, head down the street, see if you find a spot for breakfast that you like. I'll finish up the paperwork for the ship here, and I will rejoin you shortly.
No, you don't want company, Narka?
It's no, it's literally going to take all of 5 minutes. I will be right behind you.
Okay. Professor, did you want to go back to that place that you smelled the food from that you wanted to try?
Everywhere?
I guess.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you lead the way then, and we'll follow you.
He will absolutely Toucan Sam his way out of the building and down the street to find the closest stall.
Yuki, one thing that you kind of notice too, as your paws dig into the sand, kind of adding to this peaceful atmosphere. As you kind of look around in Saphira's office here, there are a number of nautical charts and maps that have been hung out all about. They kind of map out the surrounding water. But one thing I think that particularly catches your attention, Yuki, there are a number of wind chimes that are hung all around Zafira's office as well.
Ooh. I think Yuki will linger a moment. After before Narako leaves, she's not gonna bogart Naruko's thing. She's gonna kind of after everybody leaves, she's gonna linger a moment, and just take in the wind chimes, and just closes her eyes for a minute as she just listens to them. And she smiles and she nods at Saphira as she walks out.
Saphira smiles in return and returns to her duties as you leave. Meanwhile, professors, you two can't salmon your way across the sands. Number of stands are set up. A lot of them, all sorts of salted, cured, roasted meats, kebabs, chicken, lamb, all sorts of the normal accoutrement to go with it. A fresh cucumber sauce, barbecue sauce as well. Um, as I said, fried flatbreads that some dusted with cinnamon sugar, um, as well as a no shortage of uh, salted fish stands too.
Oh, well, that's a lot of choice. I think I'm going to need a little bit of everything, just to make sure.
I'll make sure of what?
Yes.
Okay. That did not answer my question.
He,
Um,
But I trust you, so okay.
Go ahead, Mars.
he is going to waste no time just going up to each of the stands and like asking probing questions about each of the dish. Like, what do you make it with? Tell me more about this culinary style. You have some very interesting cooking utensils, things that I don't see very often, that sort of thing. He's been here before, but he is excited about the food every time.
I think Yuki will be side by side with the Professor. I think being back to home, she's just drinking in the smells and the sounds and all of the amazingness. And as excited as Professor is about the food, like Yuki is just as excited as well. All of these things she hasn't had in a while since she's been out and about in the big old world. I think she'll, periodically, as Professor like orders something, she'll be like, "Oh, get extra of that. Oh, you should probably get extra of this. Oh my gosh, have them put this with this on top of it as well. They don't make it normally, but they'll make it if you ask them. You have to try it that way. It's the absolute best."
You can give me either a nature or a survival check.
Oh God, that sounds ominous. Let's see. Survival at +3, nature +4. Let's whirl it. Let's see. Okay, not bad.
Yeah. So as you guys are making your way, after you guys are making your rounds, so there's a number of, like I said, street side stands. There are small cafe buildings as well. I think Yuki, what you kind of pick up as you're going around is, not only are the foods very enticing, but there is a stunning array of drinks that are available. And as you kind of look over the recipes, you realize, a lot of these, could could potentially be new infusions that you can make with your teas. There are different kinds of smoothies using all sorts of different kinds of tropical fruits: mango, pineapple, banana, coconut. Um, there are mojitos, mint leaves, lime juice, kind of all around too. Um, Also, some very particularly strong coffee that are served in like tiny little cups. Think like a Cuban style or like a Turkish style coffee.
I think Yuki will be making copious notes in her little tiny journal about possible things to try and flavors to combine and different sort of um, how they hit the senses and how they might help heal. And I think she's gonna be like almost like that meme with all the papers on the wall with the red string, kind of like that, but in notebook form. She's just gonna like circles and arrows and would not be understandable for anybody else, but Yuki is like, she gets it.
Yeah, I mean, moving out from the dockmasters area into the marketplace, that you're hit with all these smells and all these sights and sounds and everything. These are all hitting your senses, and it's like, but it's not in a way that it's like overloading. It's like you kind of move you like move a couple steps here and you catch a whiff of incense. A couple steps over here you catch a whiff of that really strong coffee. A few more steps there's lime and mint, and the smell of the salt air kind of mixing it all together
Mm.
with the crunching sound of the sand underneath your feet.
I,
It's a
I
lot
think
more
as they
pleasant
make
than
their
it
way
seems.
around, Yuki will like kind of like close her eyes at certain points. I mean, she could find her way around this place blindfolded with all paws tied behind her back. She just knows this place like nothing, so she's not worried about getting lost, but she just wants to kind of almost just focus on her senses and just savor all of that. And I think at one point she'll turn to Professor and say, if you close your eyes, you can really feel, you can really smell and sense all of them, and you could just and she'll just like kind of go on about all the fun, awesome things you just said that I don't have the to repeat.
Good. So, Yuki and Professor on their culinary tour. Narco has buttoned up some last minute business with docking the ship. Where's the rest of the gang off to?
But we all went together with Professor for breakfast.
Oh, okay, all right.
So we're all there, just like following along, watching Yuki try to be cool, but totally not being able to hide the fact that she's ecstatic to be back here.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. I think at least Jade is just like watching the two of them like go nuts over food.
Very nice. So, making your way around the marketplace. Like I said, there are a number of there's mostly like clothing vendors that are set up here. Different kinds of silks, satins, cottons, all sorts of patterns, uh, lightweight and protective if you were to be traveling the desert. You'd also see a number of flyers that are around on some of the vendors' table as well, kind of advertising some of the other services that are at Wayburn Port. One in particular tells you to visit the Old Kings, which is a series of 3 temples that are on the eastern side of the city. It kind of lists out the 3 that are there. And I'm going to type them out here. There is the Temple of Toth, Temple of Sekhmet, and the Temple of Anubis. Each kind of touting their own wares. For example, the Temple of Anubis, where most of the people in town go to pay homage and celebrate the lives of those who have passed on. Temple of Sekhmet, which is a place of martial training and healing, and the Temple of Thoth, which is a place of knowledge and enlightenment, is how these places are touted. Additionally, there are others that will guide you to mostly the museum, where they say for a suggested donation of 1 gold piece per person, which is not required, you can join the desert excursions of Varian Sandwalker, who will lead you out to the desert, the Jabari Desert, to show you all the sites and excavated ruins and other such things of the old Kingdom of Kagabash. And you'll also find that there is Scholar's Corner, where there's a bunch of dudes in robes hanging out, kind of philosophizing.
This is the best town so far. Yeah. Narco wants to do all of that. The only question is which first.
I definitely think as Jade is coming across these flyers, if they're free to take, Jade is just like taking a flyer of each of the different things so that she could show them to everyone. Has Narco caught up with us yet?
Yeah, she caught up with you guys.
Cool. So definitely a moment to like geek out over all the different things that can be done here, and all the different, I guess, walking tours that we can do.
So So we already do plan eventually to go on our own expedition out towards the mountains. But I would definitely love to go on this tour of the desert to learn more about the history, and maybe also get a little chance to be in the sunlight and make sure that my current outfit will not roast me alive.
Oh, that's a good plan too. Um, especially so we don't get lost in the desert, because you can get lost in the desert if you don't know where you're going.
So maybe we'll save that for last. Um, but I guess between the Old Kings and the Scholars' Corner, I guess I would want to see the temples first.
Weren't we going to
'Cause-
go to the Temple of Torth anyway for Ren?
oh yes, absolutely.
Maybe we just do the temples then first, and then we can talk to those gentlemen over there. I think I heard one of them ask a question of why is it to be, and I don't really know how to answer that just yet, so I got to think about it.
Uh, I'll be honest, I was never super big on philosophical studies, but I guarantee if we let those scholars have their way with Red Professor and Yuki, that'll be free entertainment for the whole day right there.
I think that's a good plan.
All right. So, breakfast. Did we pick out a winner, or I all I see is just more and more food and drinks in the professor's arms.
I
We've
believe the
just kind of been,
professor decided everything is a winner.
yeah, we kind of been picking around at all the stalls as we went by.
Okay. Well, what about that place? It's selling a thing called Fool. Fool. Why would they call it Fool? What's the translation thing? Oh, it kind of looks like a breakfast. It's got boiled like fava beans and it's got boiled eggs with it. It seems like a local dish.
I would try it.
Everything's a breakfast if you eat it in the morning.
Isn't breakfast just the first meal of the day? So if you've already had a meal, is it second breakfast?
I think the halflings have a particular custom about something like that, but they also don't do the 3 meals a day more often
Oh,
than
what do
not.
they do?
The best second breakfast.
Should we try to find a halfling shop for breakfast then?
Um, we can. I don't know if Wayburn Port has a large halfling population, really, but I don't know. I don't think we can go wrong with any of the choices here. So,
Well, it sounds like we might be here for a few days anyway. All the different things we want to do, especially if we're going to go out into the desert to find things. Maybe we start at this one, and then we work our way around, and maybe we can find a halfling shop later.
all right. So breakfast is had eventually.
Breakfast is had.
Breakfast is had, and then by noon, lunchtime rolls around, so we just have that too. So, do we want to go to the Temple of Toth first, or should we? Well, I suppose it's just a tour, so we can go to. It's going to take us to all of them, right?
I mean, they're all three of them are more or less active temples, so we're free to come and go as visitors. So whichever we care to start first. Temple of, I mean, Anubis. I'm trying to remember. Is Thoth is the god of knowledge, but he's not the god of like the underworld, like sort of a Thanatos analog. Is it the cat goddess or the dog god that does that?
Does the
Would
death thing?
Ren know this?
Anyone who wants to may make a religion check.
Let's see if I know shit. Ooh, I know shit.
Woo!
I'm gonna add that to Ren.
Ooh,
Jade as well. Um,
I'm eating tacos right now, so I'm not rolling real dice at the moment.
reasonable.
so
My hands are full of taco.
I think Nuala and Yuki would uh, kind of have a familiarity with it, but Ren for sure, and Jade as well. You have a pretty good beat on the deal with each of these gods. So if you were looking
Oh,
for
the
the
two,
one,
the two death people know about the death gods? Yeah.
What a shock.
who would have thought? Who would have thought? So yeah, Temple of Anubis would absolutely be the closest thing to finding Thanatos. Um, the
That sounds like a fun indie movie.
Temple of Thoth is uh, more of an intellectuals kind of place, as like I said, they kind of tout themselves as a temple of knowledge and enlightenment. So um, imagine there's probably some like teachings and stuff going on here.
Uh, Ren will share his knowledge of the different religious entities in the area.
Oh, and Sekhmet, kind of like a god of war almost. Very much into martial training. Um, they are kind of like not quite warrior priest, but you know they have a thing with battle. But they also have a thing with healing too. So after the fight comes the healing. So a little bit of balance god there for you, Yuki.
Hey.
First, I'll beat you up, and then I'll heal you so that you can then understand what you did wrong.
Dude, that's like Griselda's whole character trait.
Mm-hmm.
All right, today, class, we're going to learn how to set a broken bow. Now, I'm going to need a volunteer.
How will they learn if they don't bleed?
Look, I
No,
hear
no,
that
no.
nurse.
Let them
Look,
put the fork in the outlet. It's fine.
I'll heal them. It's
Go
fine.
on.
Look, I hear that nurses eat their young, but this is ridiculous.
Gotta fuck around and find out.
Yeah, there you go.
I think the reason that we wanted to go to Toth was because Gerardo said that he had studied under a wizard who was from the Temple of Toth. So it wasn't that he was tied to Thanatos; it was that Gerardo knew because he wasn't able to be affected so much by the white she's Lois voice the White Court vampire guys,
Mhm.
The quads.
the Cody squad.
Oh, yes. I
I
did
mean,
remember. It seemed like we have good reason to visit all of these, given our
oh,
interests.
sure. I'm excited to go to everywhere.
Eeny, meeny, miny. Let's go. Let's go to Bird God first.
Hey,
All right. So we are heading off to the Temple of Thoth. Give me a moment.
I also want to notate that I've been spelling Toth wrong this whole time.
That's okay. I won't tell him.
He already knows it's fine. He's a god of knowledge.
All right. So as you make your way across town, you can kind of wander your way over to the Old Kings, and as Naruto mentioned, these are active working temples. So there are people constantly coming and going. There are people kind of a little bit of in reflection and in prayer, which at the Temple of Sekhmet sounds like the clanking of weapons and armor. Um, as you approach the Temple of Thoth, what you see inside is it is a simple space. It is it's very open air. You see that there are plenty of uh, chairs and reading tables and desks. There are scrolls stowed away in the walls all around you. And there are priests and priestesses that are dressed in simple robes, but almost act more like librarians, with how quiet they are and how they silently move around. They don't try to disturb anybody. They just kind of let everybody do their own thing. But much like a reference librarian, they're always there to answer the questions that you have.
This is like a giant library, only with more sand. I like it.
So I suppose our interest here is, well, we can always take a gander at the library and see if there are any texts of interest just in general. But did we want to ask about sort of their training techniques, especially with regards to mental protection? Excuse me, mental protections.
I think that's a
Instead
good idea.
Okay. Um,
Brett, what do you think? Do you think there's any specific things we should ask over here?
I am really uncertain. I am willing to come listen to what the masters have to say and then make determinations based on that.
Okay. Should we go looking through the scrolls first and then ask? Or do we not ask and maybe get in a class? I think it'd be fun to look through all the books.
Wait, sorry, get distracted. Wait, was that at me?
I was just in general to the party.
Okay. We could always divide and conquer with some individuals attending the class and others with the books.
Oh, I kind of wanted to do both.
Then we shall do both.
Yay! Okay. I'm gonna go look at the books. And then she kind of just leaves to go look at the scrolls. Like doing that weird, like excited thing that like she's been like rocking back and forth on the balls of her feet, just like looking at all the places to curl up to read, and she's gone. She's immediately gone.
We could have just started with that.
So as you make a beeline over to where the books are, you kind of stand there at the bookshelf and you are kind of looking around in awe at the collection that this place has. It reaches pretty much to the ceiling. Different books and scrolls that are available. As you're standing there for a moment, you see a woman. She's tall, slender, darkened skin. She wears robes of rich indigo, adorned with intricate hieroglyphic patterns and shimmering gold thread. Uh, Most notable about her is that she wears a headdress that is fashioned in the shape of an ibis, and she comes up to you, Jade, and approaches you, and she says, "Is there anything special that you're looking for?"
Oh, that would probably be a great thing to have. I don't know. I just really like to read. Um, Although we are actually so answers to things. Do you have any um scrolls or books on maybe, as she lowers her voice again, vampires? White court vampires?
she kind of lifts a brow at you and she says, White Court vampires, we are very deep into the mythology, aren't we?
You've heard of them before?
Well, it is little known of the legends that all vampires are not created the same. There have been speculation in the legends of those who uh, do more than just drink blood to sustain themselves.
Yeah. They can feed off of like emotions and things.
Yes, we do have a bit of an occult section if you would like to follow me. And she will just turn and start walking before hearing if you respond or not.
They just hurries to catch up. Just following this very tall, very wise woman.
There are many stories to tell. We are all truth seekers. The endeavor for enlightenment is pretty eternal. We've collected many stories over the years, those who have told. A lot of what you see are in scrolls. They're not bound in books, for they have not been published. People are attracted to our temple here to tell their stories. And
I like stories.
she will lead you to one of the shelves. She pulls down a scroll, hands it over to you, and she says, I believe
Thank you.
this one, the author of this one, posited that there are vampires of all sorts of things, not just blood, but energy, sun, cold, heat, many things that they individually absorb to sustain their lives. Fascinating read. Whether you believe it or not, whether it's true or not, I suppose has yet to be seen. As I said, most of these are just legends, but wonderful thought experiment nonetheless.
Definitely. Yeah. It's just a thought experiment and nothing that has happened. Um, do you have? I'm sorry. Do you have any? Since we're over here and this is pretty deep in some sort of in the lore of different things, do you happen to have any scrolls that might talk about something called the Whisperer?
Now you're getting into magical history.
Oh, you know about it. Okay.
Please follow me, and she again will turn and just start walking.
Hey, I have the scroll in my arms and I follow after her, so delighted and excited.
What's
I
everybody
think
else doing
Yuki's
during this
just
time?
I think Yuki's just watching Jade like go back and forth, like following behind this very tall person. Just kind of like
Beautiful headdress and just like not at all, just like very nonplussed about the whole. You're talking about many different things right now. Interesting. I'm sure that's not a problem. Of course, I have a scroll for that right here. This encyclopedic knowledge of where all these scrolls are in this room,
yeah,
like a
and
good librarian.
Yuki's just like watching her walk back and forth, following her, just kind of like keeping an eye on Jade, making sure she doesn't get in too much trouble. But at the same time, she's kind of standing by the door, kind of wants to continue to breathe in that that hot kind of sea air that she remembers from home.
I think while Jade and Yuki are over in more of the library section, Nariko is more in like the lecture hall. Um, she's looking to chat up the priests here, um, kind of starting with how she had met someone who had studied at this temple, and how they had described some techniques to their magic as far as like strengthening concentration and resilience, maintaining connection to the weave, and she was looking to learn more of the wisdom of what the followers of Thoth had to share on those subjects.
So you kind of wander over to the lecture side of things, where there are some talks and some like informal classes being held. It's not much more than like a loose smattering of interested people kind of listening to another man wearing an indigo colored robe, not as regal as the woman that uh, Jade is following around. He does not wear a headdress, uh, but you can kind of see him having this kind of informal talk and holds around, and he kind of looks at this crowd. It's about maybe half a dozen others sitting around. Is anybody else joining Narco as she kind of wanders to this area?
Ren is still watching Jade go back and forth.
Okay. Um, so you kind of wandered over to this lecture area in Narco, and you see this guy. He's in the middle of kind of having this sort of informal chat, and he says, and that's why when you cast your spells, you must remember that counterspell is always on the table. But the worst part of it is someone trying to invade your mind as you're casting these spells. You can get so focused on these things that you also need to remember to keep your defenses up as well. And there's kind of like a bit of murmuring and nodding, like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, this makes sense.
Okay. Naruto will kind of slip into a seat with the rest of the prospective students uh, as she kind of silently joins in to learn about the topic of interest.
And it's a lot of like, it's a lot of positing. There's a lot of theory that's being thrown around, but a lot of it is kind of like the typical steal your mind, eyes on the prize, keep your mind on task sort of thing. And when you're in the midst of casting magic, make sure to focus on what you're doing and to try to. It's almost like a meditation sort of sort of thing to block out external influencing factors to try to keep your mind and your will focused on what it is you're doing.
Naruto will raise her hand to ask a question.
Yes, my dear.
So a thought occurs to me, and it might be a more advanced study, but perhaps you could help me think it through. So there is counterspelling where a caster connects to the weave and then they evoke the spell, but in the counterspell, you create sort of an opposing spell form, which basically puts the energy in the opposite direction or disrupts the spell in sort of a crucial weak point, and it dissipates. And then you were discussing previously about how rather than trying to attack the spell itself, a counterspell would sort of go for the caster's concentration, sort of disrupting their flow of thoughts. Would it be possible for someone to sort of remove someone's spellcasting or cripple it by somehow attacking their connection to the weave itself?
Well, I suppose it is possible that you could weaken uh, somebody's connection to the weave. I think it would be more along the lines of, if not some kind of magical type of interference. Believe it or not, um, a lot of self-doubt, sowing self-doubt, can even do such a thing where they start to not believe in their own abilities enough to be able to continue using what they have, and just that alone is sometimes enough to weaken their abilities.
Mhm.
Of
So
course, it's
in
kind
a
of a
similar
long game, of course, but
So, in a similar vein to how many sorcerers sort of manifest their powers through personal belief and force of will, even your more classically trained wizard if someone can influence their emotional state on a deep level, say for example, a wizard was put either magically or even mundane into a state of malaise or almost like a long acting depression over a month or so, you could see residual uh, decreases in their ability to perform magic.
Yes, I believe that is very possible.
So in that case, the in addition to sort of removing whatever negative emotional influences, sort of the best way to remedy that sort of deficit would be emotional well-being, persistent practice with the magic at hand to sort of rebuild confidence. Um,
Yes,
and okay,
practice, start small, and do not underestimate the power of self-care.
Narco is silently pleased that Gerardo is probably going to make a full recovery just by doing the stuff she suggested he do anyhow. So that's great. Um, so yeah, Narco will happily sit in this little library coffee table with the other local interested students and just kind of chat arcane theory with people until such time as the party drags her over because Jade has buried herself in a pile of scrolls.
I brought so many scrolls I can't carry them, so they gave me a guide to help. This man's name is Gerald.
So, meanwhile, as you have asked about this figure called the Whisperer, Jade, um,
Yeah.
this woman will lead you over to another section of magical history. And she says there are a few historical books that do speak of a being known as the Whisperer, rumored to have been behind some of the most pivotal, pivotal, and dramatic turns in uh, known history. One such being the fall of the kingdom of Kekabesh as we know it, uh, which I'm sure was a tragedy back in the day, but our town uh, bittersweetly has a lot to be thankful for that.
Why?
Well, because a lot of our economy is based on our uh, um,
Oh,
proximity
that.
to the desert and where the ruins were
That's true.
found and being excavated.
Oh, I'll see what you mean.
It also certainly helps that one of the thorns of the Black Rose themselves woke up in a tomb in that very desert. So everyone wants to try to get as close to Sepka as they can without actually being close to him, I suppose.
I can see how he would be kind of intimidating. Um, but he's a very nice man. Although I guess there's only one person, you can't just have everybody go and talk to him all the time.
Hmm. Well, we seem to have pulled a lot of texts for you. You have
Ah,
quite a bit
yes,
of
thank.
reading to do. Of course, we're always here to help. We are always happy to guide those to knowledge and enlightenment, those who are enter our gates. So, if you have any other questions, do please let us know.
Thank you so much. I will. I apologize. I didn't get your name.
Oh, I am High Scribe Octavia Quillscribe.
Oh, that's a really pretty name, Octavia. My name is Jade. It's lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for all your help. I will. When I'm done reading these, do I need to? Should I find someone to help me put them back, or do I leave them in a place?
Well, if you
Do
wouldn't
I
mind
put them?
letting us know that you're done with them, we'll return them to where they belong.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I'll do that. Is it okay if I spread these out here on this table?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
She will kind of give you a nod, and she'll go back to a large table that's, I'm sorry, a large altar that kind of sits towards the back of the building that is kind of a focal point for any kind of rituals that happen here. You see that there are a number of um, little offering trays that are kind of spread about. There are different types of desert flowers. There is just a simple bowl of like large bowl of water that sits on top of this altar, as well as a number of blank uh, blank parchment sheets and a quill and ink.
That's where she goes. She goes to the altar.
Mhm.
Okay. I think Jade will just lay out the scrolls and sit down to read, just to see if, and she'll go through the scrolls to see if there's anything in here that information that we don't already have, and she'll compare it to her own journal that she's been keeping on stuff, which is actually just the back pages of her binder that had blank pages in it that she was supposed to use for other things, but she's been using to keep notes and track of all the stuff we've been going across.
Um, Give me an investigation check.
Okay. I still have tacos, so let's go ahead and whoop. No, I disagree with that. I disagree.
Are you using an inspiration?
I'm using my last inspiration. I only have one. I'm getting my real dice. Okay, which one of you? This one. Watch it roll a 2, and I'm gonna be very upset. The hell? Can't read this. What's next to it? Okay. I literally rolled the same thing. I rolled a 5.
So yeah, you kind of
There's a
go
lot of
through
scrolls
these.
here.
Yeah, you go through these scrolls. You don't really pick up anything you don't already know, though.
Okay, cool. I will note about the priestess Octavia talking about the Whisperer potentially having a hand in the fall of Kekabesh. That's interesting. I don't think it's anything that we've heard before.
Yeah, we did.
Did we? Cool.
Mhm.
We did. Yep, because we heard about it messing with Sepka and encouraging Sepka's brother to do what he did.
Ah, right.
Yep, he's all good.
Anyone else looking to do anything at the Temple of Thoth?
There are a lot of scrolls, and Ren does like to read, so he will also be seeking out different scrolls. Maybe things talking about stuff like different types of magic.
So again, Ren, you would also be led to the kind of magical history section of the temple here. The priest, kind of leading you there, kind of like tips his head a bit. He says, "It's not very often that we see such a devout follower of Anubis in our temple here."
I am attempting to expand my horizons.
He kind of smiles a bit and says, "Well, it is never too late to learn. Even death can't stop that. Am I right?"
Ren gives him a sideways look.
Okay. Uh, continues to lead you off towards the magical history section. And there are books and scrolls on the different schools of magic. There is a scroll there that also, again, kind of theorizes uh, the existence of a school of magic that is not very well known in this world. Um, as you are handed this scroll, uh, Ren, I assume you decide to start flipping through it and read it.
Oh, absolutely.
Give me an investigation check.
Ren's sitting there going, there it is. Let's go see what I can do with investigation. Ooh, ooh, yep, that's a +0. Okay, I don't hate it. I
Hey!
don't hate it.
Nice.
So, you read about a theory of a type of magic that is tied to life itself, the ability to start life from very little and to end life in such the same way, but a lot of its practical application would be to healing, regrowing, uh, regrowing lost bones, lost limbs, um, even going so far as to regenerate a person's blood within their own body, even growing, in cases of being born like with a deformity, even being able to reverse that deformity. Very powerful magic indeed. Um, a type of magic that some have tried to seek out in history and almost were destroyed for it. With that 16, you also get a scroll that talks of a cave somewhere in the Zephyrim Mountains that seems to have this strange life energy around it, but it's not always visible. It seems to appear and disappear, meaning it's not always there, but when it is there, it always seems to appear in the same spot.
Ren growls in some annoyance. Yuki, could I bother you for your assistance, please?
Yuki was lost in thought, kind of lost in memories. She hears Ren say her name, so she starts and says, yes, yeah, I'm on my way. And she'll walk over. What can I help you with, Ren?
These scrolls seem to mention some sort of magical anomaly in the Zephyr Mountains. This is your home area. I was hoping you could elaborate if you are familiar with it.
Am I familiar with the DM?
Give me a history check.
Beep. Nope. We are using one of my inspirations on that. Yuki is not going to be showing up the second she gets back into town. Alright, that's better. That is
She's still
a
Yuki from the block.
17. She is still Yuki from the block.
On
Don't make me do the joke again.
so on a 17, Ren is kind of telling you about this odd cave.
Yeah.
You don't know of any odd caves that appear and that disappear and reappear kind of at odd intervals, but you do know that some of the other monks from your monastery are kind of periodically sent on uh, not missions, but kind of sent to on like a almost like a
Pilgrimage?
guard duty. Not even a pilgrimage. It's more like a uh, kind of do a once around the mountain and make sure that everything is secure and
Like a perimeter check.
Yeah, there you go.
I got you. I think Yuki will relay that. I'm not familiar with such a cave, but frequently monks in my monastery are going around making sure that everything is the way it should be around. When we get there, we can ask them. They may know more than me. I was not allowed to come join, so as I was too young. So
Do follow that up with an insight check.
that's pretty dang good. That is
Ooh.
17 plus 6. So
yeah,
23.
math.
So
Math.
I think it would occur to you, Yuki, that it seems like a logical thing to do for not just a monastery, but for anyone who maintains a home anywhere, just to make sure that your grounds are generally secure and in order.
Yeah. Yeah. So she will relay that that's kind of what they do. Make sure that everything's okay, everything's safe, no new threats have arisen that need to be taken care of.
I appreciate your information on this matter. We may want to look into this in more detail. It appears this might have something to do with void magic.
Yuki perks up at that. She says, really? Well, when we get to the monastery, I'm sure if we seek a meeting with Xiao Mao, they may be able to guide us further.
It seems like a wise endeavor. We shall do so. Thank you for your assistance in this matter.
Nuki will nod and, still pensively thinking about what Ren is talking about, will kind of slowly pace around, not creepy like just in thought.
Ren will continue perusing the scroll to see if there's anything else, any details he might have missed that could be of interest to his goals.
I would say writing on that 16 investigation, nothing else really pops out at you as anything that you wouldn't have already known.
Then he will go back to the scroll wall and peruse on his own to see if anything sticks out to him.
Give me an investigation check.
Let's see if I have any luck. My investigation still sucks, but we are going to try. That's only 12.
Let's see. You do happen to find a book on resurrection.
Ooh, yes, I'm reading that.
A quick skim through it is that basically it's a religious text about kind of posing the question, why would a god resurrect someone who has died? And there are a number
Oh
of
dear.
reasons why such a thing could happen. Uh, Among those reasons are divine favor, like if someone had basically begged for mercy or begged for a favor, meaning that they would owe something in return. If the god felt strongly enough that the person who died had some unfinished business, very much like a crow situation. um, uh, Kind of going hand in hand if there's any kind of redemption that the recently deceased is looking to seek out, and if the god finds that person's path to be good and true. And of course, there's always, well, the gods have some kind of divine plan that we couldn't possibly know.
I found these options less than encouraging.
The answer is there is no answer. It's a God thing.
That's what I just
Who's
got out of that.
who's to say?
No one who's telling me anything.
Look,
Yeah,
whenever the
okay,
gods
Ren.
explain themselves, we just get more angry and confused. So it's better this way.
Okay,
Go ask
honestly,
the God
that's
of the,
not wrong either.
go ask
Here's
the God of
why.
the Port. He's from Brooklyn, and he's just gonna say, "The fuck you want? Get out of here!" And then he just kicks you out and just leaves. He's like, I guess I don't need to question this. It's fine.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. I can't do a
Cool.
Brooklyn accent, so we're just gonna go with that.
Ren
Hey, that
is
was
going
good.
to frown. Oh, sorry, go for it.
No. I'm being silly. Go.
Oh, it's okay. I love silly though. Ren is going to frown and go, I do not think I appreciate this insight. And continue reading.
Good. Anybody else with anything at the Temple of Thoth?
Nariko did have one thing she wanted to question the librarian about.
Okay.
Uh,
Is there anyone in
Specifically,
particular that you're looking to seek out? The one that kind of held the class, the one that was kind of walking with Rander, or the one that was walking with uh, um, Jade, or just anyone you can find?
probably the one Jade was talking to, since she seems to be kind of like the in charge of the repository, as it were, of like knowing where all the books are and keeping them in order.
She was the only one wearing a headdress.
Yep. Um, Nariko wants to know about how they keep all of these books and scrolls so well preserved here, because like lots of sunlight and heat tends to result in very brittle paper. So
She kind of slow nods and she looks around at the repository and she says, "The answer may infuriate you. I will warn you. But while we are seekers of truth and enlightenment, and while we like to believe that everything has an explanation, there are just simply some things that don't. And for that, I attribute to the blessings of Thoth."
Well, that's not really infuriating. I mean, divine magic is well documented. I was just curious if you had developed any specific techniques over the years. I'm working on some methods of climate control myself, so if it was something that you were struggling with, I was maybe going to, pool knowledge together on that. But uh,
She smiles and says, "It's kind of you to offer, but we do what we can, to, I mean, to bring the blessings upon us, to kind of attract them, meaning we keep all of our texts in the shade, um, and we try to, well, the other part of it is that the climate of this area, the dry, arid climate, is not very humid here, so it tends to keep the pages from rotting, although you do have to be careful because if things tend to get too dry, well, then they start cracking. But so far, that has not happened, and we find that the pages are quite pliable and readable still."
so really, I mean, a desert climate works pretty well. The only thing you got to worry about is stuff like locusts, you know, and bugs and the other sort of thing. But that's why you and the other priests are very diligent about keeping this place orderly and clean. So,
Oh, yes. Oh, the incense that we burn um, around the outside of the temple does help keep the bugs from coming inside. They don't like the smell.
oh, I didn't even think of that. That's brilliant.
Mm.
Awesome. Cool.
And they are
Well,
quite aromatic and pleasant.
right. Well, I probably can't get any blessings of the gods in my day-to-day work. But that's for other reasons. But thank you for answering my questions. I'm gonna go check on my girlfriend now, and she's gonna come up behind Jade and check in to see if anything interesting came of her search.
Oh, Noriko. Hello. Hi. Just in a mountain of scrolls. Just in her little cave of her own little fort of scrolls over here. Hi. Did you have fun at the lecture?
Yes, I actually learned a few useful things as far as what may have happened to Gerardo. And the good news is that as sort of a draining of emotions and an aura of negative energy um, sort of hampered his connection to the weave, it's partly also a confidence thing. So now that his magic has sort of been restored, I think with repeated usage and just some self care, he should actually be able to recover himself back to full strength.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm. And I did pick up a few pointers here and there for being able to do what I did before, where they they tried to sort of influence my mind. There are a few techniques there that I might have subconsciously been using at that moment to shake it off, but now I can more directly try and apply them.
Oh,
So
because now you know what it is.
yeah.
Oh, exactly. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, it's great. It's great to be able to do something just because you can do it, but sometimes understanding it is easier because then you can just do it when you want to and not when you're in a panic.
Mhm. You have quite the collection you've amassed here. Anything interesting you found?
Oh, lots of interesting things. This whole section is going to point to some of the scrolls she has. Is all about different types of vampires, and well, it's all theoretical. But there's a bunch of things in here about how vampires can. Oh, there's different types of vampires, not just one type. But it's all occult lore. Apparently, nobody's really ever seen them. It's all just theories. So they might not be from this plane of existence, which is good. Because some of them walk about in the daytime, like the quads did.
Right. Well, small blessings. They are able to walk around in the day without being harmed, but it seems that in our battle against them, they weren't as difficult to kind of keep down as
Yeah.
others. Like, isn't there some where they turn into mist, and then you gotta like find their coffin, and then you gotta stake them with a garlic bulb or something?
There's parts in here that are detailing something called like a black court of vampires, which are like basically indestructible, and even if you like cut them up and burn them, they'll come back. And then there's other ones like you have to find them, but only a specific. So you have to find them in the daytime, and then stake them in their coffin, and also cut off their head and put garlic in their mouths. And I just think that's very. I don't like that. I don't think that's great. I think that's a lot to do. But yeah, so it's a bunch of different ones in here. Not too helpful for what we're coming up against with everything. They don't really have much more information than just the person theorizing what they need to survive. One of the scrolls says that they actually think that some vampires can feed off of just the sun itself, and they never need to eat, which is
That's,
strange, but okay.
so are they plants?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, are they plants then? And they just need to have water and sun? And but then this person went off to. It didn't really answer that. It just went up a whole scroll about how vampires actually just need to be in the sunlight all the time, and then actually at nighttime they're weaker because the reflection of the sun on the moon doesn't give them all the nutrients they need. I don't. That's a whole thing.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess keep those bits of trivia in mind. Should we wind up fighting other vampires later? I suppose.
Veggie
Um,
vampires.
yeah. Well, at least if they're vegetarian, then they don't. We may not have to fight them at all since they just eat sunlight and not
Yeah,
us.
I wouldn't know why you'd even have to fight them unless I guess they're just
Sort of
fighting
mean.
just to fight because they're mean. Yeah.
Mm.
But so nothing too new here that we didn't already know. Nothing that wasn't already in that other book we already had. I've only gotten part way through this other pile here. It was about the Whisperer.
Ooh.
Again, a lot of information we already seem to have. It's mostly theories about all the different really big battles and changes in history were all due to its influence somehow.
Mm.
But there's conflicting things about it. Like there's some of these scrolls have it as it's just like a force of nature that like influences people to reach to greater heights, sometimes detrimentally, and others are like that it's kind of like a devil whispering in your ear to make you to like get you to do things until you're dependent on the magic. And then another one is just there's just all kinds of different theories, and some of them are give credit to it for the advancement of technology and how because there's been so much loss and she kind of looks at Naruko and goes, sometimes some inventors aren't too careful with things, and we've got great technology out of it, but there was a lot of loss of life because of it, and that's all due to the Whisperer, like pushing people past their, influencing what they would potentially be comfortable with. And then others are only giving it credit for all the bad things that happen.
Mm.
It's
So
strange.
so oh, basically, if you name any sort of conspiracy theory, you could attribute the Whisperer as the one behind the strings.
Yeah, it seems like it. Again, it's mostly just a bunch of theories. No one here has, and none of these scrolls that I've read so far have any evidence. That
Well,
I mean, to be fair, anything we've got before hasn't had any evidence either. But they can point to a bunch of different points in history where something unsettling happened and was either overcome or the world succumbed to it for a bit, and it's because of the Whisperer. And but they're all different. No two of them. I guess that's kind of interesting, isn't it? No two descriptions of it are the same at all.
Mm. Well,
And
if
there's
we
nothing
wanted
here
to,
from anyone who was actually talking to him or anything.
well, we ourselves have been more than happy to provide all number of theories, just
That's
like
true.
you folk. I could throw another one on the pile. Maybe the characterization is different because each individual person actually sort of projects their own psyche onto the Whisperer, and so it matches its form to what you think it should be because it has no form of its own.
Maybe. I mean, that kind of goes along with a lot of different things, like how many things are created because of what you believe in it. I mean, if you believe that you're going to come across something horrible and terrifying, then, especially when you work with magic, what's going to happen? You're going to get something horrible and terrifying because that's what you're thinking about and that's what you're willing into existence. But if you think you're going to have something wonderful happen, then you're going to have a different outcome, aren't you? I guess eventually. I mean, I guess it just depends. But any type of new magic, especially when you're not used to it, can be very detrimental. I mean, look what happened with Gerardo. He was just in a state of having his emotions siphoned off enough, and he suddenly, not suddenly, I suppose, but he can't really connect with his magic very as well as he could before, and that was just because he was being suppressed in a way that he didn't even understand. So maybe the Whisperer isn't even a being. Maybe it's just wild magic that's just out there.
Eventually. But my working method is if there's no consensus in the literature, she points to all the scrolls, then the best thing to do is to work off of what we have seen and experienced firsthand, because we don't have theories to work with. We have run up against bona fide void magic.
That's true. Well, but again, we're running across void magic that's being used by people who are out to do terrible things with it.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Which
I mean, and professors used void magic before, and it's never hurt any of us. Maybe there's more to that. Maybe there's more to your theory that there's really no shape or reason behind it, and it's just what you're projecting out there to be. But I don't know.
maybe. But then there's also the danger of, if that is indeed how the void operates, pulling it into our world when suddenly it has the entirety of the world around it exerting an influence on it. I can't imagine that it would manifest into anything resembling stability.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you had enough people utilizing it to give it real shape and form, then it would have more of a, oh, that's a terrifying thought if that's what the cult is trying to do. I don't like that my brain just went there. But, okay. Well, either way, as of right now, even with all the literature, the only thing that it's agreed upon is that it doesn't seem like it really belongs here. It's from not here. It's not a place. It's not something that was ever part of our world.
Mm-hmm.
It's something other. Maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing, but like you said, if it is just
If
nothing,
it's not its
then
natural habitat, the creature is not going to be healthy.
right.
You know.
Especially depending on who's the one taking care of it, and the ones taking care of it are kind of crazy.
Yeah, they kind of want to that whole like, oh, instability thing. They think that is the reason to bring it here
Yeah,
to
they think it's just
scramble everything up.
the bee's knees, which is what my sister says sometimes, and she did show me a picture of bee's knees, and they're very cute and fuzzy, and it's really not. It's really not.
Well,
But
then I think I think our trip to the library has, while not given us a lot of super solid new information, has been an excellent time for reflection.
It actually has, and I think if we have any more questions, this would be a good place to come back to.
Oh, for sure. Especially if we happen to come across,
Mhm.
ancient tombs or forgotten lore during our treks out through the deserts and mountains. Um,
Oh, that's a
I
good plan.
also, she kind of like, Narco kind of whispers this. Noella already apologized for it. I'm not upset about it necessarily. I do feel bad that the museum lost like a very important gemstone. So if we do find any like lost treasures of Kekebesh, I at least want to like donate one to the museum.
Oh, that would be lovely. Did they say why the gem itself was? I mean, was
So
it just
it's
regular gemstone, or was it like a gemstone carved to look like something that was from Kakabesh, or what? Why was it special?
they didn't mention specifically, but honestly, just the fact that it can be dated back to that ancient time period, and
It's just a soul.
therefore, like the way it was worked and stuff gives us information about like the techniques of jewelers back in that time and aesthetic values and things like that. Like it's every item carries a story, and that one is a very, very, very old story that you likely can't find elsewhere. So even though if the gemstone by today's market price would only be, like 50 gold, um, you know, what if that was, Sepka's favorite paperweight or something? And it's,
I didn't think to ask. I wonder if he has a favorite thing. What if we've come across something and it actually is his? Should we ask him first if he wants it back before we donate it to the museum?
I mean, he's been
I guess
back
he's
for a
been with.
long time. I guess if he wanted anything from his
Yeah, I
old
guess he would have
pals, he
gone
could
out
have
and found
stuff
it.
like
Yeah,
that.
it's like you've been back for 25 years and you didn't go get to your basement.
Look at this, like if we find it and it like for sure says like property of Sepka, we'll take it to the museum for like safekeeping, and we'll just write Sepka a letter, and then he can take it up with them.
Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
I'm sure he's worked with them in the past by now.
Probably. I mean, I'll bet he's run a tour or something.
I don't know. That seems a little egotistic. Okay, yeah, he probably has worked.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he has.
Right.
But what a way to learn, from someone who was actually there.
At
But
some point,
go ahead, Ren.
okay. At some point in this conversation, Ren is just going to calmly walk by these two and just mention quietly, "Void magic's in the mountains."
Wait, what?
What?
What? What? What? Wait!
Where?
I climb out of my fort of scrolls. Wait, Ren, wait!
Mm.
What'd you find? What'd you find?
I found a scroll that discussed a understudied form of magic that had great both healing and destructive potentials. It sounds very similar to the void magic that we've been dealing with, and scrolls indicate that there is some place in the Zephyr Mountains that not consistently in time, but consistently in location, demonstrates property of this type of magic.
Oh, how much you
What?
want to bet that's the place circled on the map that Temerity went to?
Quite likely.
Oh no. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, okay, we
Okay.
already kind of knew about that, so
That's good.
that's
That's the place
yeah.
we'd be going anyway. To find, probably.
So I
Okay.
thought you should know.
Wait, so it can heal too?
There's some individuals that have had made use of the void magic for healing. Basically, its regenerative abilities are unparalleled. To make something from nothing is to grow back a bone or a limb that has been destroyed.
Wow.
Of
That's
Although
course, we've
amazing.
also seen what else it can make from nothing.
To be fair, I can light people on fire with a moonbeam. 6 of one.
this is also again a different person's perspective on what the void it does and does not do.
That's true.
So
Well, it goes right back to the theory that maybe it is nothing until you make it something.
well, whatever was being suggested was exactly what Temerity wanted to hear. So I'll
Yeah.
it.
She never made it. Well,
Or she
she
did.
never. she did maybe make it to Wayburn Port and they just lost her. She is a changeling.
And
Does
just a
make me
And a
powerful wizard on top of
really
that.
powerful wizard, yeah. And if Lorelai didn't know anything was wrong until after anything happened, then she wouldn't have been able to find her anyway.
Yeah. Something tells me that the Sahajin. Or wait, did we ever find out what those things were called? We didn't, did we?
I don't think you ever
I looked
found
it
it.
up in a scroll.
I
We
don't think you
found.
found the technical term, but I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, you could. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I found a
Yeah,
scroll
I think
about
you
those
can figure
fish
that
people
out.
too, and it was right here. And it says
Something tells
Sahajin.
me that I don't think the Sahajin gave us were the reason for her going astray on the trip over here.
Not for a wizard, because she could just teleport if she wanted to, right?
I mean, she has big scary spells. I have cannons, but end result is the same. We win.
Yeah, exactly. Noel, what do you think about all this?
I mean, if we're gonna find Temerity, I think that place on the map is probably our best lead.
Do you think they like? I'm just not going to put it out into the universe.
What?
What if? Okay, so Ren said that there's a cave that's there, and we know there's something on the map that Temerity was going towards. But Ren said their scroll says that the cave isn't a fixed point in, like you said, time. It just disappears and reappears sometimes.
The anomaly appears there at different times. It is always in the same location, but it is not consistently available.
What if the reason no one can find Temerity is because she went into the cave and then the cave blipped out and she's in a different time right now?
It also might be it's near a desert. The sand might just get kicked up by the wind, and sometimes it covers the entrance, and sometimes it doesn't.
Maybe. Well, I guess we will find out when we go searching for caves in the mountains.
Pretty much.
And hopefully don't get lost in time. Although that would be pretty interesting. We could find a ruby or a gemstone to bring back. If we got sent back in time, briefly.
I don't. I kind of I do and I don't. On the one hand, time travel, amazing. On the other hand, I don't know how I'm going to be able to explain any of what I do.
I bet you would become a new god. That's what would happen.
I don't want to be a god.
That's a
A
lot of
lot of
responsibility.
responsibility.
Yeah.
And also,
That's
then I
what
have to like make up a bunch of rules and not tell anyone what the rules are, but still expect people to follow them.
You could
can
just write
still
an
walk by.
actual book.
As you're saying, I don't want to be a god. That's a lot of responsibility. Yuki walks by and quietly says, "That's what a god would say."
Oh, that's not at all what a god would say. I've met some, and they're not that. That's more of what a devil would say. You could be like Papa. That's more fun.
I don't know how we got to this conversation, but well, thank you, Ren, for updates on what you found during your scroll search. I think I've gotten everything I needed for now from this place, although I suspect we'll be back here again at some point because we are an endless barrel of questions.
There's so many things that are answered here.
Um,
I've got to tell the librarians, the priestesses, that I'm done with these scrolls so that they can be put back. And then we can go to the next temple.
yeah, my head kind of hurts a little bit, so maybe the second temple where they do. I think I saw them doing exercises outside. Might be nice.
Oh yeah, when we walked by, they looked like they were all doing it at the same time. It looked so interesting. Oh, I'm so clumsy. Okay, I'm gonna go tell the priestesses that I'm done with these scrolls, and then we can go. And I run off to do that and come back.
Yeah, so you let them know you're done with the scrolls. There's a bunch of attendants kind of start filtering over to The tables with the spent scrolls and books, they start carefully rolling them up, tying them up, and putting them back where they belong.
Jade gets distracted a little bit watching them reshelve all the scrolls. Then shakes herself out of it and runs off to catch up with everybody else.
So you guys make your exit from the Temple of Thoth. What's next?
To Sekhmet?
Mm-hmm. A
You said
little,
that?
a little palate cleanser from all the introspection.
Mm.
Approaching the Temple of Sekhmet is a much more grand and imposing sight. Guarding the entrance to the temple are two colossal statues that are carved out of black granite to look like lions, each depicting the goddess of Sekhmet in her fierce lioness form, with proud mane framing the carvings. Um, just past the entrance, flanking the entrance are towering braziers with flickering flames casting an eerie glow that dance across the temple's facade. You can smell the incense mixed with the smoke of the fire to create its own kind of aroma as you approach. In front of two massive stone doors that stand open, you see a guardian priest on either side, clad in ceremonial robes adorned with images of Sekhmet. They stand vigilant with their staffs in hand, just kind of watching you as you approach.
And I'm going to call your attention to the chat.
Oh. Oh, so Professor, the head scribe will kind of tilt her head, and she says, "Well, uh, have you seen the flyers around of for the for the excursions that go out into the forest? Wow, the desert."
Oh yes, the tours. Yes.
Varian Sandwalker, he's collected quite a few rumors, and I don't know if he's actually practiced the magic or not, but he seems to talk about it with some kind of, again, relaying stories and things he's heard. He seems to have some kind of knowledge, if he's to be believed.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much. I will absolutely follow up with it. Thank you. I like your hat. And he's going to trot off to catch up with
It's
everyone.
a headdress, okay.
All right, thank you for the disrespect. Respectful disrespect. I don't know how to handle that.
Yeah, so approaching the entrance to the Temple of Sekhmet, there's grand entrance, guardian priest kind of guarding the way with their scepters, kind of watching you as approach and very subtly nodding a stoic greeting to you.
Hello.
They again just kind of they meet your eyes for a moment, and then they again go out to they turn to their watchful gaze kind of out forward from the entrance. Do you enter?
Yuki absolutely enters.
Oh, I believe he's already gone. Okay. Jade will hurry to follow.
Everybody following in?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. As you enter the Temple of Sekhmet, there is a large, almost like a sand arena kind of in the center of this temple. Around it are torches that are lit, uh, flickering light on the walls that kind of depict various scenes uh, of Sekhmet and others leading the charge in battle. There is a large altar that sits at the back. It looks very plain, but there are a number of different ceremonial weapons that look like they're laid out. In the center of this pit, you see that there is some sparring going on. And as you all enter and kind of take in the scene, Professor, I would like you to give me a perception check.
Oh, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Dun dun dun.
Woo!
21.
There is a figure in the center of this fight that you recognize almost immediately. She is fighting off combatants left and right. They are coming at her, charging. She's got her shield and her warhammer up. She's fighting these other fighters back, and to her, it seems like it's more than just a spar. Very familiar looking to you. She is a tiefling with red skin, curved horns, curving back against her head, a silvery mane of hair on top of her head. You remember a person you once knew by the name of Nathala.
Pale as black in beard. What is she doing here?
Oh, Professor.
He points to Nathala. Nathala! Doing the thing she's always doing, even here.
Few moments you kind of watch as she fights off these other guardian priests, and sure enough, one by one, they kind of get knocked down to their knees, winded. As they fall to her, she gives them a bit of a nod, and they bow to her and kind of go off. You see, she goes back to the end of the pit, opposite of the entrance where you guys came in. She goes to start drinking from some water skins that are lined up along the edge of the altar.
Professor, do you want to go say hello to your friend?
Friend is a strong word. And also, yeah, we can go say hi.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
And he will just like stick his hands in his pockets and casually saunter up to her. Hello, Nathala.
She kind of looks at you. She finishes taking a drink from a water skin and puts it down, and she stands tall in front of you as you've always remembered her, and she looks at you and says, "Hello, Professor."
I see we have doubled down on your vocabulary. I like it. Predictability is incredibly useful in these days. What are you doing here? And what is a cleric of Tempest doing here at the Temple of Sekhmet?
Well, my parents back home, along with some of my other companions, have encouraged me to go traveling, and I thought, what better than to visit temples of the gods who claim to be on equal level of Tempest.
My
That
God, yes.
Jade and so earnest about it.
is the most on-brand thing I've ever heard from anyone, ever.
I do not have a branding iron with me. I'm not sure what you mean.
He just grins like, never change. What? How long have you been here?
I just arrived in port last week.
Oh, good. Have you been traveling here, or did you just get here from Ekram?
This was my first stop.
Oh, lovely. You're going to love it here. There are a lot of people who want to beat people up around here.
It appears so. These warriors are almost on par. What is it that brings you here, Professor? It has been a long time since I have seen you.
Oh, you know, this and that. Originally, a bit of a research outing. Now I'm on a quest to... I'm not even sure what to call what it is we're doing. But it is big and it is important. Oh, sorry. Rude of me. He gestures over to the team like, everybody, this is Nathala, the Stalwart Hammer. Nathala, this is the Mystic Mechanicus. That's Jade, Ren, Arby, Nariko, Yuki, Nuala. This is Jeffrey. That's Dave. That's a cat.
Char.
And that's a bird and a long mouse.
My name is Mora. And hi! It's nice to meet you.
Hello, I am Nathala, stalwart hammer in the Order of the Broken Blade to the Temple of Tempest.
I've never heard of that, and it sounds very impressive.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have you had lunch? Would you like to join us for food?
I could probably use a break. And then she looks at the professor and she says, and speaking of which, you are... And she visibly lifts an eyebrow at you and says, on a quest?
He kind of straightens his jacket a little bit and kind of fusses with the sleeves, like, yes, a quest is yes, that's what we're calling it. Yes, I'm on a quest. Where
We're
on a
kind of like adventurers.
Adventurers. I believe
A
it
little bit.
was your word professor that said that you would never become an adventurer.
Really?
He just like
To be
his
fair,
mouth just kind of becomes like a thin line as he kind of like chews on his inside of his lips. He's like, mm-hmm.
to be fair to Professor, it kind of surprised us all because
Wait.
people were trying to kill us at the time.
Wait. What exactly was it that he did not like adventuring? Running off without thinking? Jumping into a fight without understanding the consequences? Utilizing strange magic that he was unfamiliar with? What are the elements that he was unconcerned about?
That's not adventuring. That's science, practical science.
I would like to hear from Nathala.
I kind of think that they're just two together.
Nathal looks at Ren and gives her a single solemn nod and says, yes, all of that.
Indeed. You'll be interested to hear he has pulled an entire 180 on those former perspectives.
I didn't choose this life. This life chose me and you and that plant that can't stop making music.
Could have fooled me
His
with the
name
way
is
you
Dave.
rush into danger.
I'm surprised that
You
gave a
see
name to a
danger,
plant.
I see opportunity.
You gave a name to a plant.
Well, I didn't
I
give a name.
believe, actually, and Ren scrunches up his nose a little bit. Someone else gave him a name. Someone who was always on a break. Who was that again?
Always on a break. How do they get anything done?
Surprisingly well. It's a mystery to us all.
Well, they are about to serve kebab and flatbread. I've taken a liking to that. And she looks at Professor and she says, if you ever tell anybody, especially Willa Ray, that, I will end your life.
He visibly gasped. When did you stop dining exclusively on wet grains?
When did you exclusively start not valuing your life?
About 3
I
weeks
have a
ago.
long history of not valuing my own life, I'll have you know.
He is telling the
I
truth,
would like
actually.
a kebab. That sounds lovely.
Yes.
Kebabs for everyone. Yes, let's do that. This is getting intense.
She'll lead you over to like a little, like a mess area, where they have like they're serving the kebabs out in like open heated trays, and she'll grab a portion of kebab meat and some flatbread, and she'll kind of start arranging her lunch and closing her eyes, saying a quick prayer before assembling it and taking a bite.
Jade will try to mimic exactly what she just did, except for the prayer part.
Professor will sit next to her and just sort of slide over this small container of this viscous white fluid, and he just whispers, if you think that's good, put this on it.
That sounds so wrong out of context.
On Valentine's Day, it's
On
perfect.
Valentine's Day.
Is that the cucumber
Um,
sauce?
Better.
She narrows her eyes at you. What is it?
I call it ranch dressing.
She looks down at it.
It smells like burning.
She takes a single finger and puts a bit on one of her claws, and then she touches it to her tongue. And she takes a moment to consider.
You have to roll to see if Nathal likes it.
Please tell me you're rolling to see if Nathal likes it.
Yeah, she does.
Yay!
She kind of nods a bit and she says, I have been broadening my horizons lately, and she will put a little dabble on her kebab.
He's got the smuggest shit-eating grin on his face right now, and he just digs into his own food silently.
So who is Willow Ray, and why can't Professor tell her that you like things?
Because she constantly tries to feed me butter.
Just butter?
You would think so, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You do not need to apologize for the actions of others for which you have no control.
I've never met this person, so that is accurate, but she'll reach over and just gently pat your hand. There you go. I feel for you and your distress. I'm often distressed, so, you know.
Have you come here to test your mettle in battle?
Maybe? Is that why we came here?
1, 2, 3, not it. He points to touches his nose.
What?
No one will force you to fight here. I just choose to fight every time, because I enjoy it.
You're very good at it. We watched you from when we came in, and you were, I was like, you against like 3 other people. By yourself. It was really impressive.
Thank you.
Welcome.
This is not just a place of training, though, however. There are also clerics here who come to practice their healing. As important as being able to hold your own fight in battle, it is also important to be able to heal those who have fallen around you and be able to take care of them. That is part of my job in the Order of the Broken Blade, is to take care of warriors who have fallen and can no longer fight for themselves. However,
Oh, that would be really...
we are all held to a standard to be able to hold our own and fight if we can.
I prefer the healing part, but we've been having to fight a lot of people the last couple of weeks.
Shoots Professor another glance.
It's been a lot.
Has he been the one leading you into these fights?
No.
No,
Leading is
not
a
really.
strong word. We are usually following him because he runs off without a care or thought.
It's not true. He
Mhm.
only ran off like twice, and 2 of those times you went with him.
That
You're
does not
running,
make the
Nate.
situation better.
It was one time that you did go up onto the roof and get yourself electrocuted by a lightning bolt, though.
I wasn't by myself.
Yes, Jeffrey was ready to report back if you had only a carcass remaining.
I
Yes.
can't actually bring you back from the dead, Professor.
Can't bring me back from the dead yet.
That is true.
That is not
But you have to
encouraging.
survive long enough for me to do that.
Well, Ren did it. I'm sure I could figure it out.
Ren did not have a choice in that matter, you seem to forget.
Thanatos did that.
Pretty sure that guy owes me money.
You're never going to get it back. Papa says he's notoriously bad at playing poker. No one will play with him for that reason.
Well, that would have been good information to know previously.
Well, I didn't know you before that time.
I will say
Either way,
I will say the professor does have a curious nature about him, but I have known him to be um, organized and methodical, even if
He has a lot of journals.
even if he might be a bit flighty sometimes.
I think Yuki has been listening to all of this and listening to Nathala talk about um how important fighting is, and how like that is something that she for Nathala enjoys, quote unquote, um if that word can be even used, but then to go and heal, I think Yuki's been kind of listening to all of this, and will kind of peek out and kind of wave and say, Nathala, if I might I ask you a question or two?
You may.
I'm Yuki. I hail from the monastery in the Zephyr Mountains. I find myself struggling lately with our very core concept of balance, and something you speak of causing such violence and then such healing. How do you how do you balance? How do you even out the pain you cause with the healing?
The fighting is usually done by combatants that have no compassion for your sense of being, especially in a time of war. They, when you were called to do honorable battle with these enemies, then you would be rest assured that even if you would show them mercy, they likely would not show it to you in kind. So it is the way of Tempest to um, be fearless in the face of that danger, to never turn away from a fight, but to obey the rules of war, of honorable combat, in that you engage those who engage with you, and those who surrender, let them surrender. There is always the choice to balance that out. Those who surrender, we will sometimes give healing to. And
Sometimes.
when they are found, the balance comes from giving life to those who would appreciate it.
Mm. But what about the lives you take?
When we choose to go in battle, we choose to put our life on the line. I did not choose to take their life, they chose to fight with it until it was no more.
Yuki nods as she continues to try to um, kind of figure this out and balance and rationalize. And um, she nods. But what? And you see her pause, and um, in that moment, she's remembering all the times that she fought, that she attacked, um, that she took lives. Um, that was not um, a formal battle. She's remembering when she had all those arrows shot at her and almost died. She's remembering all of these things. And she says, but she kind of shakes her head and says, no. How, what about the lives you take when it is not a formal battle? What if it is not, what if you were just attacked? How do you, is there a time you're supposed to stop? Is there a time that you're supposed to give them an opportunity to surrender? And if so, when? And what if they don't surrender? What if they hurt you or hurt one of your friends? How do you know?
It comes with experience. The ones who attack you, while it may not be a formal battle of one side meeting another on a battlefield, it is still a personal battlefield of your own. Those who continue to attack you and do not let up, and would wish to see you slain. The fight that you put up is in self-defense, and it was their choice to continue attacking until you had no choice but to make sure that they could no longer do so. If it is something that you struggle with, if it is something that you feel guilt, if it is something you feel bad about, as I say, then give and restore life to those who would seek it. You will know those who do. There will be no mistaking it. Do good where you can, elsewhere.
Yuki nods, absorbing Nathala's words. She says, you've given me much to think about. Nathala, stalwart hammer. Order the broken blade. Listen, I'm just proud I remembered all their fucking names. Can we just take a fucking minute? I remembered them all.
I was just waiting for you to
Reflections of
add
the
like
Andals of the
accounts
Breaking
payable
Bread.
onto the end there or something.
Esquire.
CPA.
Esquire.
To turn
MBA.
over the shipping sands, etc., etc.
The third.
Things got
Oh,
really
fun.
intense. Yuki, are you okay?
Hearing Jade, and you know, it is at the forefront of Yuki's mind. You know, she has not forgotten her promise to Jade to do better, to be better. And she'll say, look at Jade and say, I will be all right. I am all right for now. I am not unwell. I am just working through things. I'm working to, and she looks right at you, Jade, and says, be better.
Okay. Well, we're here to talk if you have things that you are bothering you. I know it's not been an easy few weeks.
Yuki smiles.
I really understand it's not been an easy few weeks.
She smiles like almost bitterly, and says, it's been only a few weeks.
It's been like 3 weeks.
Your group seems to have been through a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. We have had many people try to kill us in a very short period of time. We have had to change who we are. Our beliefs have required tweaking. And she kind of like winces that a little bit, like that wasn't really the word she was going for, but we'll go with it. But you've given me much to think about. You've answered my questions honorably. Thank you, Nathala. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go meditate, and Yuki will go sit. She'll find a spot by the altar, in the shadow of a statue of Sekhmet, to kind of sit and meditate for a few minutes on what Nathala told her.
I don't think Yuki's okay.
Naruko has been pretty quiet since we got to the Temple of Sekhmet, she's kind of been staring at Nathala since meeting her, but not really saying anything. She kind of looks over to where Yuki's gone and says to Jade, "I think, I think I have something that might help her. Um, I'll I'll go talk to her in a moment. Miss Nathala, you're from across the sea, where
Yes.
the professor was from.
Yes.
Have you traveled anywhere else besides that land? You said this was your first time coming to Averil, but I didn't know if you'd taken trips anywhere else, like the Feywild or um, something, anything like that.
I have been to the Feywild. I do not wish to go back.
Oh, okay. Um, good. Um, well, it's nice to meet you. Um,
Likewise.
and Narco looks like a little slightly unnerved, and she's just gonna excuse herself from the table and go talk to Yuki.
So, Nathola, how do you and the professor know each other? And we'll just kick that conversation off, as in the silence that is left after the two of them excuse themselves from the table, and just tell me how you met.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that conversation happens in the background.
That conversation goes on in the background.
Um, Narco will kind of head over to where Yuki is, and Yuki is kind of in meditating posture, so Narako is just going to sit herself down nearby in kind of the same posture and kind of just wait until Yuki acknowledges her presence.
Yuki is, obviously sitting crisscross applesauce, as you do. And she'll hear Naruko come up. She's not deep in meditation. She's just kind of taking a minute, almost using meditating. I don't want to say as an excuse, but as like, I'm gonna go meditate on this and give me a few minutes to get my shit under control. But she'll hear Naruko come up, and she recognizes, her steps, knows it's Naruko, and she'll crack open the eye closest to Naruko and say, I hope I didn't upset anyone.
No, this trip has been wonderful in many, many ways, but it's been upsetting to each of us in individual ways as well. I guess that's what it is to grow up and explore the world. Um,
Hmm.
You helped me a lot when I first had to. She kind of gets quiet, like down in that basement in Crystal Cove.
Hmm.
I'd never done. I'd fired a gun at a range many, many, many times. That's how you learn. Never never thought what it'd be like to fire it at someone. You helped me through that. You were very helpful in sort of teaching mindfulness and how to let emotions be there and sit with them. So, um, if it's all right, I maybe had a thought that might help you. But of course, the unsolicited advice is never. This is like a nice thing, I guess. So, if you would rather not, that's okay too.
Yuki smiles and she says, No, Naruko. Advice is always welcome, solicited or otherwise. What's on your mind?
Um, well, I I wonder if maybe you might be falling into a trap that I fall into a lot, which is overthinking. Um, I I see you whenever that those fights do happen and our lives are on the line, and your body always moves so decisively, so gracefully, even in the midst of what could perhaps at times be described as almost carnage around us. Um, I wonder if maybe while we're here at the temple, it might be good for you to step out into the ring and let yourself kind of just go without needing to worry about whether it's a life or death struggle or, eh, you know, all of those other considerations that are kind of bouncing around in the mind. Because you were trained how to do all of this at the monastery, right? It was self-defense, but also exercises for helping to strengthen your body and you know focus.
Yes, you are correct. We are taught how to fight, how to defend, um, if need be, how to take a life. I guess I just didn't expect to be doing so much of the latter.
Well, we all learn these different skills, but it's up to us what we do with them. And I don't know, maybe you don't feel that way, but I felt like ever since we've joined together, you've always done your utmost to help keep us safe. And I I think we've always tried to leave the possibility open. I can't think of a time where anyone, submitted themselves to us and we struck them down. Seems like, unfortunately, a lot of the time it's been, fight or die. Even those bandits on the waterways, they were only in it for the money, but even when they were down on the ropes, they didn't surrender. The
Um,
Sharkmen,
Go
yeah,
ahead. As you mentioned, the bandits, Yuki, you almost catch an imperceptible, um, like twitch of Yuki's shoulder as she remembers being taken down and knocked unconscious by the water elementals,
mhm.
and before she catches herself again, um, and continues as if nothing happened, just listening to you.
And when the Sharkmen, when that last one realized that his cause was done, he elected to flee. We kept him from doing so, but we didn't take his life, and that was the choice.
Mm.
And I think I think we've been making the right choices. So I don't know that I've got answers, but I think maybe if you want some of the surety that Nathala seems to have about her place in combat, maybe maybe that's where the answer lies.
She'll turn and look at you. Think I should spar with Nathala?
Oh yeah, or the priest at the temple, or I mean, I can loan you Arby. He could take plenty of hits. It doesn't feel sore afterwards. But I think your martial prowess is an important part of who you are. Maybe taking those chances to make use of it and feel at home in it without the external factors might might be nice. It might help you with reconciling what the bright points are, for that against the darker aspects, the balance thing. This isn't really my forte. I don't know. It seemed like at this moment, sitting here with your thoughts would maybe do worse. It would do worse for me. I wouldn't go fight people, even for fun. I would sit and I would get a lot of scrap metal and I would make something. I don't know what it would be, but I would make it and I'd find someone who would like it and I would give it to them. That's how I um, sort of put the brain to rest for a bit.
Contemplation through action. Interesting. Yuki will take her tail and she will wrap it around Naruko. And it's a floofy tail that wraps completely around like her shoulders to give her a hug. Just thank you. Advice is always appreciated.
Oh, okay. Well, I am not going to punch people, but I will do the meditating thing as a counterbalance.
I like that. That sounds like good balance, Naruko.
I mean, maybe it's a thing to strive for, to like have all the balance within yourself, but I think that's very difficult for people because people are not made like all symmetrical and balanced. We're always a little bit off because that's how we are ourselves. So I think it's good that we meet and discuss these ideas with other people so we can sort of take a little bit of them and they help balance us. So you did that for me. So I can try and do that for you. So go get him, Tiger. Oh wait, am I not supposed to say that? Is that rude?
You it is not offensive. You forget. I did have tiger stripes at the carnival.
Yes, you were a princess, and that guy with the loud clothing was very rude.
She growls. Zigzag. Low in her throat. Maybe a
Okay,
little.
maybe don't think of zigzag while you're doing the punching.
Fucking zigzag. Yuki will get up and she will turn to Naruko where Naruko is crisscross applesauce on the ground and she will outstretch her hand to offer Naruko a hand getting up.
Okay. Naruko will go along with Yuki.
All right, she will help her up and Yuki will rejoin the group. And she will look at Nathala and say, Nathala,
Yes, Yuki.
might I, once you're done eating, of course, might I bother you for a practice spar?
It would not be a bother at all. Would you like to go now?
She's gonna look at Naruko and look back at you and say, I would.
What are your terms?
Terms are best 2 out of 3. First, I don't know. Sparring for
Would you like me to give a suggestion?
new. But yes, what is?
May
You are the expert.
May I use magic?
Say no.
No, I was. Oh, I was. I was just pretending to make Yuki think about it. No, no matter.
Say yes.
Say no.
Very well. then I would ask that you do not use your key.
Fair.
Do you want to do like a 1v1 here, like a PvP? You want to do that?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Let's
Do
go.
it. You deserve it.
Fight, 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 fight.
All right. Didn't have this on.
Non-lethal, obvi.
What?
She's non-lethal, obvi.
Of course.
Do you know who you're fighting against?
That's why I said non-fucking lethal.
Is this going to help Yuki's whole I dropped unconscious and I'm freaking out about that?
I mean, Naraka
Maybe,
suggested we're gonna fucking try.
maybe if she drops unconscious a few more times, but does nothing bad happens, that'll help her get over the fear of being dropped.
Maybe.
Accepting
It's
death is the
exposure
first.
therapy. It's fine. What could go wrong?
This is
Accepting
not
death is the
something
first
for
step
sure.
in defeating death.
Why are we fighting?
This is sparring. It's practice fighting.
Oh,
Where
practicing. Okay. You did just see that Nathola practice fought like 3 other people at the same time.
I did not suggest that she like go after Nathala specifically. That was Yuki's choice. So
Oh, that's gonna be okay. Are we supposed to heal people from? She just makes another shawarma and eats it.
Oh, Professor, that is a good point. Would you like to do regular fighting or dance fighting?
Don't do this to me. Come on, I'm having a rough week.
Yuki will look at Nathal and say, "I'm unfamiliar with dance fighting. If that is a type of martial art you have perfected or you prefer, feel free. I will
I-
not. You know."
I will admit that I am still learning, however, I have learned quite a bit. Instead of fighting with weapons, we dance and we fight with words.
Yuki nods, listening to her explanation of dancing, and is going to say, I feel that might not achieve the outcome I'm looking for."
Very well. She's going to lead you into the arena.
Yuki will follow.
So, you want to roll initiative?
Yeah.
the tone in Joe's voice.
I feel like Yuki is getting out. I feel like Allison is getting out some aggression tonight.
This is great for me because I don't know what Nathala's level is, but I assume it's high.
It's
Yeah.
It's high.
I'm sure it is.
That's high.
That's fine.
All right. So Yuki and Nathala step into this arena. Nathala pulls out her shield and a warhammer. We've agreed to no magic, no key points, and obviously non-lethal.
Correct.
Yuki, you beat Nathala in initiative.
Yeah, she did.
Remember,
I
we're here
can't
for
do it when it
fun.
fucking counts, but yeah, but now I do.
This is for fun and self-improvement.
Just cue
Good.
Jade being apart like one of the philosophers.
I will say, for spatial reasoning, the arena is
Yeah.
30 feet by 30 feet. So to stay inside the arena, you're not going to be able to run too far.
Yeah, for sure. That's fine. That's fine. I think Yuki will walk into the arena. She will kind of stretch out a little bit. She's been on a boat. She's been hanging out, sleeping, eating, doing things. She'll stretch out. She'll get limber up a little bit, and then she will look to Nathal and say, "Are you ready?"
Yes.
And she will zip forward, like the floof that she is, and we are going to do some murder mitts.
Okay.
First one, 17 plus 9.
26 hits.
Okay. Where's my d6? Where are you? Damn, it's a 1. So 1d6 plus, so 7 for the first hit. That's 14 plus 9.
23 hits.
That is 9 points of damage. We're kind of using key points, so we're not doing any flurry of blows. And then I think Yuki is going to then zip back behind Nathala.
All right.
Does
yeah.
Yuki want to use her bonus action to get a third attack?
Oh, that doesn't use key?
You get the one free with your bonus action because of martial arts. The key point gives you 2 bonus actions.
Okay. Okay, then yeah, we'll use the 1.
Okay.
19?
19 will miss.
All right.
All right.
Ass handed to me. It's gonna be great.
Well, here's the big spoiler alert.
You may not.
You take a cleric's magic away, and you've essentially clipped them. Because
Yeah, 'cause she can't smite or anything
well, clerics don't get smite.
or whatever.
But a lot of their most damaging stuff is through spells, and they only get 1 attack per turn, whereas you get 2 and 3 with your bonus action.
Yeah.
So Nathala will come at you with a warhammer.
Jesus.
And that is
My will of
that's a natural 20.
yes.
Yeah, it is.
There it is.
I can see you're so clipped.
Well, I mean, it would have been if I didn't just roll a natural 20 against Yuki. Oh boy!
Yeah,
All
she's
right.
getting hit into that wall.
Yes, she is.
So that is going to be 18 points of damage.
Okay.
Cats always land on their feet. Cats always land on their feet.
Right.
So that is
yeah.
18 points of damage right there. Go ahead.
Jesus. Go.
And as a bonus action, she is a war priest, so she does get a bonus action attack on you.
Great. I love that for me.
That is a 19 to hit you.
God, fuck, I'm 18. Yeah. That'll hit her.
This one is going to be 7 points of damage.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. That's not as bad, I should say.
And that'll be the end of her turn.
Okay.
Oh, I should roll initiative. There you go.
You smack her with that fucking warhammer, and she goes skittering across the dirt. She digs in her claws to keep herself from sliding further, rolls over, and is back up on her feet. Yuki doesn't stay down for long. She's sore. She's got an owie, but she's not in danger. Nobody is going to die. So she, much like Naruko had suggested, she is able to focus on in the moment. She doesn't have to worry about making sure that nobody steals Nuala. She doesn't have to worry about, if Naruko is going to be okay. She doesn't have to worry about, like, is Jade going to get, swallowed by something and a frog and swum away with. She doesn't have to worry about that. So Yuki is able to focus on being Yuki and fighting her fight. So she kind of smirks at almost the silence that is going on in her brain. The not the quietness, the stillness of thought, of not having to worry about everybody else because they're fine eating fucking shawarma. So she is going to run at Nathala again and take some more attacks.
All right.
That is 17 plus 9.
26 hits.
10.
Okay.
That one does not hit. That was 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, 11 to this.
That is 15 plus 9.
24 hits.
Sorry. My fuzzy brain is done with math, so that's another 10 points of damage.
Okay.
And then do I get to bonus action again?
You only get
Or no?
one bonus action, so you get a total of 3 attacks. So you had your 2 attacks for your action, and then you took your bonus action for the 3rd attack, right?
Not yet. I've only attacked you twice so far. For this round.
I thought that was just the 3rd attack, because you hit for 10, and then you said the second.
Oh, that's
attack
right. And I missed one and this one. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. You're right. You're right.
Okay.
Forgot
Okay.
about the fucking 2 that I rolled for a minute. Yeah, so that'll do it, and then Yuki is going to skid out again. As she goes, she's gonna take her tail, and she's going to, as she goes by Nathala, she's gonna kick up, with her tail some of the sand from the arena and try to make it look foggy, or like dusty and whatever words, so that I don't know, to give Nathala maybe a little bit of a difficult time finding her as quickly. In this whole 30-foot arena. Whatever, it look cool kicking up dust. Shut up.
She sees through it.
Of course she does. Still looks cool. Shut up.
She has her shield out in front of her warhammer kind of at her side as she just marches through the dust and comes towards you with an upswing of the hammer.
Yep.
That is a dirty 20 to hit.
God damn it. Yep. Ugh.
For 9 points of damage.
Okay.
Using the War Priest bonus action for a second attack. That is a 19 to hit.
Yep.
That is going to be 10 points of damage.
Oof. Okay.
She looks at you as she comes back at you with the backhand, and you see that she's got some bruising on her face, and she says, "You fight well. Can you finish me on this turn?"
Yuki smiles. Yuki smiles as she kind of like wipes a little bit of blood from her lip because you fucking clocked her with that uppercut from the warhammer. And she smiles and she says, "I'm gonna give it my best shot."
Give it your best shot.
She's gonna. Come back with you guys, don't fool me. Motherfucking not 20!
Your microphone refused to pick that up the first time, just from how loud and high it was.
Holy shit, nat fucking 20, ho!
Double the damage dice, add your modifier.
Yes! They did not fuck me! Just because I'm fighting Nathala, I'm gonna use my Willa dice.
Willa has always wanted to do this.
Well, this is going to be the sweetest little uppercut you ever did see.
Well, aren't you just so darling? Such a little sweet peach. This won't hurt just a little bit. 8 plus 6, 14.
14.
Right, is that math? 8 plus 6,
Yeah.
14? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alright, so that's that one.
Number 2.
That is a 14 plus.
That
See, now I'm
hits.
panicking. 14 plus 9.
Yeah, it hits.
This is 5 plus 6 is 6. 12? No, 13. 11. Math, 11.
Okay.
5 on the die plus 6. 11.
That's 11. Yep.
Uh, guys,
Is it another 20?
that's another nat fucking 20.
Give me
Hilarious.
damage.
Here we go.
Ah! I took pictures of both of them because that's fucking outstanding. That is damage is okay. Willa did max damage, so that's 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points.
Would you like to describe how you knock Nathala out?
So much flailing is happening over here. I think Yuki zipped by you once, and she kind of caught Nathala on the side, like on her right side, and then zipped around the back of her and just kind of scraped down both of her with both her claws on the back of Nathala, just kind of scratching her back and taking her and throwing her to the ground.
Nathala goes down to the ground and she does not get up.
Yuki stands there panting for a moment.
Jade
She
immediately
is
jumps up and goes to heal Nathala.
she is in awe. She is just in a wash of how that felt to fight. Concern for Nathala, but knows that it was non-lethal. This was a spar, so she's going to be fine. She's just overrun with thoughts at the moment and reactions of this whole fight. She will take a knee next to Nathala as Jade heals her, in respect for her. I don't know, being hurt. She's gonna.
Are you?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Are you okay? You okay? You okay? You're fine, you're fine, you're fine.
What do you?
Anyhow, I'm gonna giving her it's not wanting to come through. Hang on. Try to click this again. I'm giving her a 3rd level cure wounds.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Did it come through now? There you
I
go.
see it.
19 hit points back.
So Nathala comes back up, and you see if you've ever watched like old school wrestling, she just kind of like sits up like the Undertaker, just like
Yes.
from a flat laying down to just a sit up with like legs stretched out in front of her, and she kind of blinks and she looks at you, Jade, and she nods and says thank you, and she looks at you, Yuki, and she says, "You are indeed a formidable fighter. You have chosen well by taking my magic away." That is
Yuki smiles back and she says, "As are you."
and Professor, you see it, just for a moment. Nathala cracks a smile.
I think she does that when it's beaten up.
Yuki will stand up and she will offer a hand to Nathala to help her up.
She stands, and as she does, she is going to give you, Yuki, a 3rd level cure wounds.
Oh.
Need another D8. Here we go. She rolled like shit. 12 points.
I mean, to fucking take it.
The
Feeling
balance will
the
return when the room stops spinning.
exactly. Again, when Yuki gets healed, her fur fluffs up a little bit more. She smiles, feeling the healing going into her. And she'll say, "Shall we share refreshment and talk about strategy?"
Yes. Although
Yuki is just happy to have somebody to talk about, like the strategy of fighting, the kind of the art to it.
so as you go off to get some refreshments, Nathala will spend a couple of couple more cure wounds on you. She'll heal you up to full.
Thanks.
And you guys will go off and kind of chat about just what just went down. And since we are at 11 o'clock, that sounds like a good place to pause for the evening.
Yeah. I think Jade just returns back to the table to sit down with everybody else, going, I really don't understand what just happened now, and I'm just gonna eat some more of the food.
You know how sometimes when you meet someone new, if you shake their hand or give them a hug or say hello, it's all in the body language of the tone. You kind of get an understanding of a person just by that first greeting.
No.
Right. Then this analogy is going to be completely wasted on you, but it's like that. Except for her,
It's
fighting.
beating people up?
Yeah.
I've never seen Yuki ever try to beat someone up before just on first meeting them.
Well, I think that Yuki's working through some things, and this might be the safe space that she needed to work it out.
Okay. I don't understand that at all.
It
But
is
okay.
Jade. I do not understand it either.
I mean, we just met her. She seemed really nice, and then I don't know. Okay. I don't know.
They do seem happy together, though.
I guess. Weird. I don't know why I'm even eating these. I can't even eat. I'm eating another one.
I believe it is stress.
Maybe.
Whew. That was fun. I did not see a 1v1 coming up.
No, I didn't. That was not on my bingo card for tonight.
Oh, great.
Oh, such an
Random.
unfair,
Be a
such
new
an
couple
unfair
to ship.
fight.
I wonder how that fight would have gone if we didn't have any restrictions at all.
Fast as
Yuki
fuck,
would
and
have
Yuki would have been down.
I don't know.
This was very much. This was such an unfair fight.
I mean, if you're using Nathala's regular character sheet, I mean, she is only level 7.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Only.
Yeah.
And dope monk shit.
Yeah.
Dope monk shit.
Let's put it this way. Spirit Guardian, spiritual weapon, 2 attacks a turn, and in exchange, Yuki can attack 4 times a round?
Yeah.
And maybe do her little water whip stuff?
Yeah.
I think this favors Nathala, just a tad.
Yeah. Yeah, like Yuki couldn't use her key stuff either. So I mean, I don't think it was as unfair. I think it was unfair because of the class, not so much.
It's just because you get 3 attacks a turn.
Yeah,
and multiple attacks just sucks when you're a spellcaster.
In this scenario, the monk definitely gets the advantage because of the action economy alone.
I think the counterpoint would be Nathala's high armor class, such that Yuki actually rolled very well.
Yeah, had I not rolled those nat 20s, which Jesus Christ, could I not do that? Can I do that when it's actually important? Fuck.
This was important. This was personal growth.
Listen, yes.
Yeah.
This
definitely goes in line with all of our stuff of we're gonna use all our inspirations on shit that doesn't matter.
Yes, that is what we do.
This was personal growth. This was and the dice wanted to tell this story. The dice wanted to tell this story for Yuki.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sometimes the dice have a story to tell, and sometimes that story is Yuki's a badass.
And it was epic too. It brought Yuki down to within just a few hit points as well.
Yeah, I was at 6, guys. I wasn't doing great. It wasn't like if I didn't hit with all of those and roll as I did, it would have been over. Nathala could have just kicked her in the shin and she would have been down. We were not running with much at the end there, so.
Nathala.
It was good. It was good.
Nathala?
For that, I'm definitely giving Yuki an inspiration for tonight.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Nathala, I told you shouldn't just fight people when you meet them. You gotta talk to them first. Be nice. You can't just fight people.
We did.
I told you that, Nathala.
We did talk, and then she challenged me to a one-on-one.
Well, I mean, did you at least buy her a drink after?
That is
She's-
Nathala's love language.
She
She
And then
started
Reggie
it.
comes in and says, "What about a three-way?"
Oh boy.
Did you buy her a
I
dip
tried so
insider
hard to
afterwards?
like figure out a three-way reference earlier in, and I couldn't figure it out without it
Oh
being
my
just like
God.
obvious. So I was like, nah, just leave it go on. She took on three at once. And just let it be.
That's hilarious.
I will take nominations, but I do want to throw out that I loved that Ren was like, "Hey, by the way, there's void in that mountain."
I
That was
love that.
amazing.
No. The
And the
best,
extreme sass.
the
Oh.
best part was, I'm sorry, Professor didn't want to be an adventurer? You mean he doesn't think that you should go around and do this? Just
The bullshit he does all the time.
It's everything he does every day that I have to chastise him for. Yeah, I think Ren gets this.
That was also amazing.
That was awesome. You mean that everything he does all the time, he didn't want to do that?
do tell.
But then Nathal, yeah. Well, to be fair, he was very methodical, at least.
He comes from a place where being an adventurer is an actual like licensed vocation, and he thinks that that's a stupid job.
Not a respectable job like being a teacher.
It was just like
Yeah.
Nathal was like, really?
I don't believe you.
Let's adopt her so they can Nathala just stay with us forever.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, you know, her parents told her to travel, so she is traveling.
Okay.
How can we convince Joe to break his own game?
Make it shiny.
I don't know. Give me a few more sessions, I'll find something new.
All right.
uh,
In Neville we trust.
I have cannons now.
yeah.
True.
Yeah,
We're
you
gonna have
do.
to come up against some more pirates.
I kind of have to come up with at least one ship battle so you can get some more use out of them.
I mean, that's fine. You don't have to. I'm just saying.
Yeah, true. I mean,
I like.
you invested so much in it.
Ooh, all right. So Ren and
But you've
Yuki
done so
for MVP.
much.
Yeah, Ren and Yuki. Let's anyone else's nominations?
I agree.
Hell
I
yeah.
agree.
I'm excited.
Guys,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
did awesome.
Thanks. Yuki's working through some shit, guys.
Yeah. She
Doing
got
a
very
great
emotional
job.
there for a bit, making Jade
Mhm.
very like, what's happening?
Mm-hmm. Yup. Yup. And now that she's home, you know, she's able to relax or maybe try to relax a little bit more. So if shit goes wrong, it's going to be even more traumatizing until she meets with like Xiao Mao and everybody.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Pressure. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I gotta go do the pet shuffle. You guys have a wonderful night.
Hey,
You
you
too,
too.
honey.
Have a good
Love
night.
you.
Love you.
Amazing. What did we learn today?
Penis.
There's
We
void in
always
the
learn
mountain.
about this.
There is void in the mountain.
There's void in the mountain. Was the scroll? Did the scroll say void magic, or did it describe it as life magic?
It did not mention void at all. Just said life magic.
Yeah. Said life magic. Okay, I did write that down correctly.
Mhm.
And Yuki said there's not Yuki. Ren said there's void magic in the mountains, and I'm like,
What?
I recall your scroll saying only about healing. What? I missed a whole chunk of conversation while I was eating my tacos.
Why else is there a big circle on the map there? We only circle void magic.
Maybe she was going to have a party in the desert with her cat friend, who's also from the monastery.
Party!
I don't know.
Tabaxi party.
I'm trying to figure out how Naraka is going to who she's going to talk to and what she's going to say regarding why she was weirded out by Nathala.
I caught that, and I'm like, but then you immediately got up and walked over to Yuki, and I'm like, I need to ask her about that.
Well, we'll get to it next time, unless we forget.
I won't forget. I wrote it down.
I have that. Do you see a floof?
I see it.
Mhm. Well, there's a question, Neville. Do you want to wait till next session? Do you want to do anything in the roleplay channel? Because I'll ask you now.
Yeah, you can throw something in the roleplay channel while we're eating kebabs.
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 After Yuki and Nathala go off to have like a heart to heart about we kicked each other's asses. Let's be friends now.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Very enemy.
Best friends.
That is how friends are made, is it not?
Mhm. Best friends.
Seems like
Fortunate.
it so far. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah. If work tomorrow is the same it's been earlier in the week, I might have a fair amount of free time tomorrow morning to respond to whatever chat stuff. For whatever reason, we've been pretty low on emergency department patients, so I've been coming in and there's been like no one assigned to be transferred up to me. I'm just stuck there waiting until the discharges start coming like closer around 9 o'clock. Which is fine because I actually I now have a new nurse who's like orienting on the unit, who's like with me on my schedule. Like I'm a preceptor now.
Oh,
Yep.
look at you.
Her name's Raya. She was actually working as a phlebotomist for our hospital for a while before she finished getting her boards done and got her certification. But she applied to come to my unit and like work there. So she's like gonna be. We're actually gonna have like a third fucking nurse for once. Thankfully,
Hell
she's
yeah.
good. Like she's a good nurse and smart and like knows the charting system and stuff. So like there's very little I need to do. Like because that was my fear. My fear was I was gonna get like a disaster case where it's like I have to teach you how to nurse. But no, this is like you know how to do this. I'm just explaining, getting you used to how we do things on the floor. So it's fine. Ow.
Mm.
I was kind of hoping that maybe my boss was going to give me a text message and say, "Hey, there's still like no borders in the emergency department, so they're like downstaffing. Like we only need you to come in until like 11 tomorrow." But I never got that text, so I gotta get up tomorrow.
Mm. Hate that.
Yeah. I also have a flu waiting behind the inpatient room.
Mm. No. Rosie. Little cutie pie.
Sometimes she gets restless and she just starts like wiggling out on that chair back there. It's freaking adorable. Yes, you.
Yeah, so you described the temple as a temple of like balance or like how it has like balance stuff that might be interesting to Yuki and you didn't think Yuki was gonna throw down? Come on now.
I didn't say I didn't think it. I was just, I don't know. I didn't expect a 1v1.
Good. I didn't expect to win, so
I when I heard Temple of Balance and they do like martial arts sparring, I was like, this is a Yuki spot. I want to see Yuki do Yuki things here.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason Yuki declines to partake of sparring, I was gonna send RB out in there. I'll be like, RB, more combat data. Go. Have fun.
Beep boop beep.
Meep more.
Also, I'm working on it. Naruto is making progress towards getting Arby a voice box.
Nice.
Oh,
Very nice.
love
I
that.
probably need to decide by
Of course.
next session of the session after what the hell he actually sounds like.
That's gonna be
Please
awesome.
make it sound like a classic cartoon robot, like a robot.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Or like this big scary robot who sounds like Power Rangers Alpha 5. This high pitched child voice.
Hey, hey, hey! Mystic Mechanicus, danger is afoot.
Hilarious. I love it.
Just huge bodyguard robot still sounds like C-3PO.
Even better if it's just an actual robot voice. It's just beep boop beep boop 1001010101001. And a text box appears above him with the actual words.
That would be so terrible if I gave him the ability to speak. He only speaks Modron.
Yep.
So
which is weird. He's not a Modron.
Naruto is still the only person who understands him, so that's great.
Cool.
That was the situation before.
This didn't really work the way I expected it to. What happened? Oh gosh, it's funny. Good session.
Is Ben still here?
He's here. He's just
Okay.
quiet.
Okay.
Hanging out.
You can see his feet.
I just got back to my desk. I went and got food.
Did you say you could see his feet?
His feet.
Oh.
B.
B.
I mean,
wait, you're not on his live stream? Of course, I can see his feet.
I have it up all the time.
Yeah.
Aries.
in this one, and then Ben's feet.
Well,
I feel
Gotta
better
have
now.
all
Thank
those
you,
feet.
Ben.
Show feet.